necessary ingredients, but we do. Check it. We got what
Here's
you
how
need.
SEMrush
You want it. We know what you want. We got it. We know what you feel. You want it. We got what you want. You can have it. We got what you need. You want it. We know what you want. We got it. We know what you feel. You want it. We got what you want. You can have it. Orientation in this place we call Earth. Love from conception from your mom, your birth. Pops planted the seed in the turf. From there, you must find out what life is worth. Grew up learning your do's and don'ts. Before working on your motor skills, working on your coordination, right? And orientation to what your life. The brand new thing, so gentle the soul we're capturing. In this distance, the alphabets the kids sing. They celebrate when it's time to go outside. As you get older, you learn to let all the troubles in your life just glide away. Stay focused, keep it smooth, keep you cool. Things in life can make it get rude. If you let it, don't let it. 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 If you let it, let it, let it, what? If you let it, don't let it, let it. If you let it, what? Don't let it. If you let it, don't let it, let it. Don't let it. We got what you need, you want it. We know what you want, we got it. We know what you feel, you want it. We got what you want, you can have it. We got what you need, you want it. We know what you want, we got it. We know what you feel, you want it. We got what you want, you can have it. We embark on this journey through your soul. We wanna have a good time. We embark on this journey through your soul. We wanna have a good time. We do something that you know you can't deny. We're just slipping in and out on a journey, you and I, on a mission to salvation. Our spirit be our transportation. We think you'll do a little love and that is true. For real, we bring something that you know you can't deny. We're just slipping in and out on a journey, you and I. Bring it. We got what you need, you want it. We know what you want, we got it. We know what you feel, you want it. We got what you want, you can have it. We got what you need, you want it. We know what you want, we got it. We know what you feel, you want it. We got what you want. From our harshest past and better than our society's identity. But then again, can you tell me that's free? They explain to you what your mind should perceive, suggest things they want you to believe, like your skin color dictates your race. They're calling you an idiot to your face, like life is much more simple than that. We're all slaves and the cards are stacked. While we fight over problems we can fix, industrialists turn our kids to addicts. The television does a job, introduce you. The radio's right there to seduce you, keep you locked on the wrong damn track. Cigarettes is just legalized crack. They want you to catch a damn heart attack. They want you to catch a damn heart attack. What? Stop
Check
believing
1 2
in the
1
flag, it's a trap. Cause men rule this world, that's a fact.
Alright, it is April 25th, Saturday, 04:29 in the Central European time. That makes it what? 0:10. That makes it 10 p.m. 10:29 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, right? Something like that. I hope I'm getting that right. And blessings out to everybody that's there. I'm on an off time right now, but it is what it is, because I had to do a lot of paperwork the last couple of days. Like, I'm talking about, like, all I did the last couple of days was paperwork, work and paperwork, and then side work. Like, and then, I didn't even have a chance to be able to hop up and do the stream at the normal time. But I'm here, and yeah, I'm going to do my thing as I normally do. Yes, it's all types of news, and let's just get to it. This crazy. Now listen, these are the Palantir Elon Musk days. Yeah, Picasso. Yeah. I'm going to go see some Picasso paintings today, Sterling. Yes, man. Well, maybe if I don't make it today, in the next couple of days when I'm down in Spain, right? I'm headed to Spain for a few days, so I'm going to check out some parts of Spain, right? But look, and Picasso is one of the things, he has there's some historic sites there, and then then there's a couple of museums. Obviously Picasso's big there. But yeah, man, back to this Elon Musk Peter Thiel thing. To put it in perspective, I realized something, and it's up to podcasters to do this, to people that do independent media to kind of do this part, and that is paint the big picture. Fill in the blanks. Oh, by the way, Sterling, it was good having you up last time, man. I think people learned a lot, and I think we had a good dialogue, man. It's a good example of how, anybody can have a few things not totally straight on, you know what I'm saying, and how they affect others, including myself too. I'm not talking about just you, but I give you a lot of credit for hopping up, man, because I got to tell you, everybody's not doing that, bro. Everyone is not doing it. And at the end of the day, that is the most important thing, that people have real dialogue. So at least we had a real dialogue, man. Straight up. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. Oh, yeah. You went to Spain too? I saw that museum in Spain last year. Wow. Well, I'm in for a treat then. You know what I'm saying? I'm in for a treat. But back to this, Sterling, man. Let me know, what do you think about this? Like, podcasters we know legacy media is not going to paint the doom picture, right? Legacy media is not going to tell you what hell is coming, right? Obviously it couldn't do it last time, right? Legacy media, and Kamala Harris could tell us. She could tell us some things were going to happen, but Trump told us shit was going to be fine, right? So Fox said things would be wonderful. Let's leave Kamala Harris out of it. Fox News said it was going to be wonderful. Trump said 2 more weeks, and then 1 more month, and then next year, and then so obviously there's some problems predicting the future. But what about Elon Musk? What about Peter Thiel? What is it that they're planning to do? What is it that they want? What is it that they want? And all I can say is go back and look at RoboCop films. Go back and look at Judge Dredd. Yes, go look at Judge Dredd again. Big up to Sylvester Stallone. You know what I'm saying? He writes some very interesting stories. People don't want to hear it. They thought that movie was just a joke. Go back to RoboCop. That was something we saw in the early 90s. RoboCop, something like that. People couldn't imagine. People thought it was so far off. That's in our lifetime. Judge Dredd film in our lifetime. If you're my age, right? RoboCop in our lifetime. Scanning people, then killing them on the spot, litigating. I am the judge. I'm the judge on the motorcycle. I'm just going to stop you, pull you over on the side of the road, and I'm the one that does it, right? Now, and there's more, so yes, it is real. Rafika, there you go. I see you. Yeah. And, there's more to this, drones, not just drones, robots. Elon Musk, they're making robots. And listen, I did a comparative already. I've been researching this for a minute. I just haven't thrown up all the data yet. But listen, there is data out there that shows you exactly. One dude, Peter Thiel, is working on programming. The other guy is working on the machinery. One dude, Peter Thiel, is working on the brains, and the other one is working on the body. And yes, I'm telling you, they plan on using them and implementing these brains and these bodies in the middle of human beings' lives. And that means everybody, every human being, no matter what human being you are. You could be the president of the United States. You too are going to have to go to a machine. You know what I'm saying? There's going to be a machine right there, and you're not going to know who's controlling that machine's mind. You're not going to know what billionaire has control over the machine. And that's exactly what RoboCop was about. Who has control over the machine? Because you know it's not going to be a machine. And you know this is what they're working for. These two are billionaires. So Americans, people, you want to be the testing ground for that? America is headed to be the first testing ground for a police state, a RoboCop police state. Like straight up. And I told you before, the reason why it's going to be is because they are afraid of the guns. They're not going to tell you on legacy media. They're not going to tell you on Fox. They are not going to tell you. You got to understand that. You have to think for yourself. You have to do your math. When I go out there and I say United States citizens have more guns than the citizens of China and the citizens of Russia put together, do you think I'm just making it up? No, that's what the data actually says. That's what the data says. When I say the United States is one of the only countries where the citizens have the rights to bear arms, where it's put in their constitution, do you think I'm just making that up? That's not hyperbole. I'm not making that up. It is actually the truth. You need to go check that shit out. You see what I'm saying? And they are especially afraid of you. And it has nothing to do with you being a Democrat or a Republican or independent. You have no political advantage, period. Democrats, independents, Republicans all have the same Second Amendment rights. So it has nothing to do with your political party. They are afraid. These billionaires are afraid of you, and they are going to do something about it. That's what it is. And the last thing before they control everything is those guns. And who do you think they're going to send to come after you to take your guns? Who do you think it is? They're going to send the robots. They're going to send the machines. Right. That's what they're going to do, because the machines will take an order that is like, fuck this Constitution, fuck the First Amendment, and fuck your right as a human being, and fuck your right as an American citizen. Yeah. A robot will. A robot won't see the contradiction. You see what I'm saying? Like, seriously, the contradiction has to be programmed in the brain of the computer. That's Peter Thiel's job. Yeah. But who's going to be controlling the robot? Who's going to have the last say over the robot? It's not going to be the average American citizen. You see what I'm saying? And this is what's afoot. And you could call it conspiracy if you want. I say call it a conspiracy, because it is. That's exactly what it is. It's a conspiracy. The only difference is that your ass is on the line in that conspiracy. Yes. And the first wave, the front line, is the United States of America in that show. You're on the front line. Everybody else is sitting back saying, what are the technocrats going to do? What are the fucking robot people? What are the computer people? What are they planning in the U.S.? Is this how they want to do their democracy in the United States of America? And they're sitting back watching. They're saying, damn, look at this. This is playing out. They got the AI just running straight, running through it, like running fast. Like, it's almost like they were doing the AI in the U.S. Like, if they don't get it done right now under Donald Trump, they won't ever get it done the way they want to. You know, it's running. It's off to the races. Don't even have the damn laws in place to rule over AI. Nope. Got to get it out there first. Got to roll it out first. Got to roll it out. Don't even have any idea about the water consumption, the electricity consumption, how it harms human beings, how it harms neighborhoods. No, because we're in a rush to get it out. Why are they in so much of a rush? Why are they in so much of a rush? You know what I'm saying? And it's crazy, you know. So I'm just saying the show is on. I really hope it's not like that, but it seems to me like it is exactly like that. And the more you research it, you know, the more you see, like Elon Musk and Peter Thiel, it's not like they're opponents. No, they're not opponents. No, they're working on two different sides of the same coin. One is the programming, and the other is the machine, the body. Very simple to understand. And at times they may crisscross, you know what I mean? At times, But no, people need to be paying attention to them, and I don't understand why people would give so much power to folks that, if Elon Musk wanted to help every poor person, if Elon Musk wanted to send get every homeless person, every homeless United States citizen a home, he could do that at the snap of a finger. But that's not what he's going to do. So somebody's got to, go in the grave over this. And it's essentially going to be the average people. The average people are the citizens. The citizens are the ones with the rights. That's the problem. They don't like the Constitution. And that's exactly what was afoot in RoboCop and all of this shit, So in any case, let me see. Sterling says AI's new military industrial complex. Yo, exactly. With a billionaire behind it. Exactly. Because at least people controlled it. But now it's even less people. You see what I mean? Now it's even less people. And it can be hacked. So, and who's really behind it? I mean, you're going to trust Elon Musk and Peter Thiel with creating your brain, your AI, and you're going to trust that they're not going to sell out the United States of America? Nah, hell no, man. That place is going to become a fucking prison. You know what I'm saying? For some other country. Like straight up, it's going to become a prison for some other country, and that's what I see anyway. That's what I can imagine. I don't know. Obviously, when I'm saying this, that's why it's called a conspiracy, just like a conspiracy novel, a thriller novel. You read it. Yeah, it's a story. You don't know 100%. But Nancy Drew knew a whole fucking lot. And what I'm saying is that, it looks a whole lot like that. And usually you don't find out until it's too late if you don't have an imagination. If you can't put two and two together, you are on the side of too late. You see what I mean? Instead of, aha, now we know what these dudes want and get them out of there. So in any case, you be the one to tell me whether you like what you're saying and how well you're going to deal with this dynamic when shit hits the fan. I don't think it's going too well myself, but in any case, let me start off with a little news, and it's always interesting, but well, let me see here, man. What the hell's been going on? Whew. Guess what happened? The opposite of what Trump said. Right, and our guy, what the hell is his Lutnick? His family's going to get paid. They got big payouts coming. They knew ahead of time. They suspected while Howard Lutnick was out there selling off the tariff idea and how it was going to make Americans rich. Every poor American was going to roll away in a Lamborghini after these tariffs. It didn't happen. It happened the opposite. You ended up paying more money because of the tariffs. I'm talking about the average American, the broke people, the middle class people, the people that voted for Trump ended up paying more for shit instead of paying less. Okay, they ended up paying more than they were paying with Biden, even though they hated Biden more and hated Kamala more and wanted to lynch them. They ended up paying more with Trump, and they don't want to lynch him yet because a third of his base is cool with it. A third, even though they broke. That's the beauty of it. I mean, a third of his base is like, I know what I want. A third of Trump's base is like, and if I don't want to vote, I know what I want. Okay? And this is what's running the country right now. You know what I'm saying? It's like stubbornness is running the country. Broke-assness is running the country. Drunkenness is running the country. You really going to trust these people with? Why do you think Pam Bondi is such a fucking bitch? Why do you think Trump is such a fucking Trump is such a fucking delusional bastard? Why do you think Hegseth is such a drunk? Why do you think Kash Patel is such a drunk? Why do you think all of these people are either closely connected to Trump privately or personally or something like that, and all are just like flunkies with the worst type? Why do you think that is? It's because the two motherfuckers at the top, Peter Thiel and Elon Musk, got a plan. And if you put too many thinking people in that in that pot, they're gonna fuck up your plan. So you don't need brains. What you need is greed, selfishness to sell out the country. People that will do anything for $1. And that's what you got out of these people. I mean, even punk ass Kash Patel. I mean, I will never understand it. But why would the same person that, let's be honest, why is the same person that hates Africans, because this is Trump, he's just going to ban all Africans, shithole countries. Why would he put African Indian ethnic African in control, the head position of the FBI? Why would he do that? Why would he do it? And then this guy is passing laws to suppress the Southern Poverty Law Center. You know, the people that go after the KKK, he's fucking punishing them. Like, why? You think it's an accident? It's because he's a pure-blooded sellout. He's after the little people. And just like the poor-ass white people in America are the little people, the black people are the little people too. They're broke too on average. You know what I'm saying? Middle class, struggling. If anything, singing songs of, you know, freedom and shit, you know, like singing the blues, like singing songs to try to inspire them to get through the hard times. Like, that's who they are. That's who they are. The other ones are the ding, 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 going around the mountain. This land is your land. You know, white people, broke ones. Talk about freedom too. I'm serious. This is who they are. This is who they are. And these are the people being affected by somebody like Kash Patel. They're the targets. It's not Elon Musk and Peter Thiel. It's regular, average Americans, period. You know, these people, Pam Bondi and all them. Pam Bondi, do you think she's out to protect little girls? She's a lady. Is she out to protect little girls? No. Kash Patel is a brown man. Do you think he's out to look after the life of the average brown person? No, he's going to sell them out and get a check. You see what I'm saying? Like, he got no problem doing that. And we got to, so that's why I always say, you know, the game is off, man. There's potential for anybody. Clarence Thomas, you think him being a black man looking like, you know, looking like he looks, do you think that he's there for people, old black people that struggle in the United States of America? No, he's a sellout. He's a sellout. The man is a sellout. He's there to just eat the steak dinner and say, fuck the rest of y'all. Fuck you. You know what I'm saying? That's what he's there to do. You know, so there's potential for anybody. Nobody has, you know, no color, no race, no gender, no anything, no sexuality, no any of this. No, you could be a heterosexual and sell the United States down the fucking tube. You can be a black man and sell the United States down the fucking tube. You can be Pakistani, Indian, or whatever, like Kash Patel, sell a motherfucking United States down the tube. You could be a switch hitter like Peter Thiel, sell the United States down the fucking tube. Jennings, what's his name? Blah 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 Jennings, from CNN. Yeah, you could be like him, dude. White man playing like a heterosexual man, but really switch hitter. You could sell the United States down the tubes. You could be any of them and sell the United States down the tubes. So right now, people have to start thinking about the everyday American. Start asking themselves, what is the everyday American? Who is part of that description? Because Pam Bondi got $1 million. Kash Patel got $1 million. You see what I mean? Jennings, Peter, whatever his name is from CNN, got $1 million. What about you? Do you have $1 million? See, that's what those poor white Americans have in common with black Americans. You don't have $1 million on average. You don't have it. You don't. And a lot of other ones of you don't. You see what I'm saying? On average, don't. You see what I mean? A lot of you are going to be stuck with the bill for guess what? Guess what you stuck with the bill with? You stuck with the bill with this. All of you going to be paying it. Your grand and Peter Thiel and Elon Musk and Trump and his kids, Pam Bondi, Kash Patel, any of them, Peter, dude from CNN, all of them will not be stuck with the bill. That's why they're called sellouts. Okay? You will be stuck with the bill. Only you, only the average American, only the middle class and the poor. And what I mean by middle class is a couple $100,000 a year, motherfucker. You're not well. Even just barely $1 million, you will be paying the bill. Because Pam Bondi got what, 10, 20 million? 1 million, you will pay the bill too. You see what I'm saying? $1 million and below. You will be paying this bill, and your kids will be paying this bill, and your grandkids will be paying this bill. Why? Because you let them fucking do it. You fucking voted for these people. And you made excuses for these people time and time and time and time again. And this is what happens when you do that. Sorry. And thank God I'm an American citizen that does fucking not live in the United States of America. And big up to every American citizen that is standing up against this bullshit, because the clock is fucking ticking on you and your life. Prison chains is coming for you. RoboCop country is coming for you. The day when a motherfucking robot tells you, sorry, you don't pass. Get over there in the other group, and the rest of you standing outside. We need food. We need this. Robot like, nope, you don't qualify. Yeah, Peter Thiel says so. Yeah, some billionaire behind the machine says you don't qualify, and you don't. You see, so
night in the war in Iran. Dramatic images coming in tonight from Iranian state TV just a short time ago, and look at this. Iran seizing multiple cargo ships near the Strait of Hormuz. In the images, you can see the armed masked Iranians boarding a ship,
second,
sweeping through the vessel.
Screw all that. I'm gonna play this first, and then I'm gonna go back to that. Here we go. This is the bill right here. Here we are.
$1 a gallon, up more than $1 since the war began. On Capitol Hill, the Treasury Secretary wouldn't say when they'll go back down.
How fast will the prices of gasoline come down?
Again, that is path dependent on when the war and the conflict end.
The president has extended the ceasefire with no deadline, today saying he's putting, quote, no time pressure on Iran to return to the bargaining table. And Iran insists nothing will happen until the U.S. lifts its own naval blockade of Iranian ports. The Iranian president declaring bad faith, siege, and threats are the main obstacles to genuine negotiation. How long should Americans be prepared for this war to go on?
Well, look, I think President Trump ultimately will dictate the timeline, and he will do so when he feels is in the best interest of the United States and the American people.
President Trump insists most of Iran's missiles and drones are gone. But tonight in Tehran, a show of force, the regime displaying some of the missiles in its arsenal. It comes amid news of a sobering message to Congress from the head of the Defense Intelligence Agency. Marine Lieutenant General James Adams telling lawmakers Iran retains thousands of missiles and
Iran retains thousands of missiles, and we use them all. But you're paying the bill. You're paying the bill. The broke asses of America are paying this bill, and your grandkids will pay this bill. Okay. Now, you will pay this bill also. Here's another bill.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. You get the idea. $166 billion in refunds and interest on top of that as well.
Yeah. Put a one in the chat if you're getting a refund. Put a 1 in the chat if you're putting a refund. Put a 2 in the chat if you don't qualify. Let me see here. I don't qualify. Let's see who's a multi-millionaire. Let's see who's a multi-millionaire CEO in the chat. Anybody in the chat that's a multi-millionaire CEO? I'm just Sandman. You a multi-millionaire seeing a CEO? What's up with you? You got big money, huh? You getting a refund? Mr. Beanster. Sounds like a corny ass name. Anyway, obviously your mama gave you a real fucked up name if that's your name. But Mr. Beanster, are you getting a check? Are you getting part of this? Are you getting a refund? Are you happy? You happy go lucky today for your grandkids? Can you produce children even? Because I'm thinking you're a machine if you don't understand what I'm saying. You know, only a machine would not be dissatisfied about billionaires getting a fucking refund and you not getting one. The people that buy shit from billionaires. I mean, you know, who wouldn't be happy? Oh, Sandman. Okay, you're not happy. Good. Okay, well, at least you got some brains because somebody got to pay this bill and you got to. Okay, and if you happy about that, I would say something's wrong with you. You know what I'm saying? So, let's stay on topic. Mr. Beans, where you at, Mr. Beans? Where you at? Come on, Mr. Beans. You happy with this news? Are you getting a refund on your check? You getting a refund? You one of the Trump insiders, Mr. Beans. Where you at? Where you at? Where all the people at? Yeah, okay, let's go. And Mark, RoboCop Mark, fucking Elon Musk machine AI, Mark BM5NK says, support billionaire refunds. Yay, exactly. I told you the robots were going to side against the human beings.
Even for the US government, it's no small amount, and it's a logistic.
My name is Mark BM5NK. I support billionaire tax refunds.
Logistical nightmare because it'll happen over 60 to 90 days. And here's the way it works. Only importers of record can file for the refund. So that's the big.
Anybody in the chat an importer of record? Because that's a fancy word for you don't apply.
Companies like Walmart and Costco. You and me, I live in the US, so I paid the tariff at some point. Not so. Just how much of a mess is this? Because I'm actually quite surprised, Oliver, that they have at least put in place a bureaucracy to handle it. Now, whether it turns out to be efficient and practical is another matter.
Yeah, that's right. The court has been holding the government's feet to the fire. It's been asking for updates regularly, and the government has been firing.
Look at this. Look at this, man. You guys are not understanding something. You know,
filing declaration.
Look, Sandman, this is what Sandman says. But for your information, both parties have billionaires. But for your information, Sandman, it don't matter what party you are. Both parties have broke asses. And are you one of the broke asses in either? I mean, you could be independent and still be a broke ass in the middle class. Are you one of them? Are you $1 million and less? So it shouldn't matter. This is not a party issue. I'm not reaching out to Democrats. I'm not talking to Democrats. I'm talking to American citizens. American citizens happen to be members of different parties. What do you want me to do? Tell them, fuck voting? Don't vote this motherfucker out? So I'm telling you, whether you're a Democrat or whether you're a Republican, vote these motherfuckers out. You could be a Republican and vote for anybody you want. You don't have to vote for Republican. But when you see them throw out somebody in your face that is not standing up against this bullshit, what you going to do? Vote for them? What's your message? Don't vote. Don't vote for a Democrat because they standing up against this. Is that your message to them? So no, obviously it shouldn't be, right? Because if you tell people don't vote for a Democrat when you see a Democrat standing up, that would be stupid. You're supposed to vote for people that are standing up and are saying what they're going to do to stop this. That's what you're supposed to do, because if they're not doing something to stop this, they are not on your side. It don't matter. If the first thing that pops in your mind is, are they a Republican, Democrat, or independent? Then you miss the most important thing. The most important thing is, what do they stand for? What are they saying? What is their message? What are they saying every single day of the week? That's what matters more. So I would never tell you to go out there and just vote party line, and I don't vote party line. But I could tell you this. You might want to be concerned about how you're going to vote, you know? And if, you might want to be concerned about that. Are you registered to vote? If you're not registered to vote and you don't know, or even if you think you're registered to vote, still make sure you're registered to vote, because you don't have a lot of time left. You see what I mean? Like, you really don't. I mean, this is your life. This is your life playing out. And it takes time to get all these little extra things in order. So the first thing you could do right now before the midterms, you could do it this week, is call your county clerk, register of voters or board of elections in your state, and make sure you are on the voting rolls, that you are ready to vote. And an easy way to do that is by registering to be a Democrat or a Republican. It doesn't mean you have to vote Democrat or Republican, but they're out there. They have big financing. They're out there in your town, in your neighborhood, asking people to register to vote. So go do it. But I'm just saying, it would be kind of crazy to vote for the party that supports AIPAC less. it would be kind of crazy to register under a party that supports AIPAC more. Why would you want to register for a party that just believes in spending all your money in fighting a war in Iran that they didn't even ask you about? Why would you do that? You see what I mean? So, yeah, part of it is going to require that you measure the temperature of the water and decide how cold does the water have to be when you get in, or how warm does it have to be when you get in. Is it going to be to your own personal liking all the time? Wrong, because that's not how you get together masses, groups of people. It's not about your personal thing. You're going to have to be flexible. You're going to have to get engaged, and you're going to have to look at the persons next to you and be willing to have a conversation with them about it so you can get somewhere, even if they're not 100% in agreement with you only. Okay, that's what it's going to take. It's going to take that this time around. And I know a lot of Americans don't always want to do that. But look, man, shit, 80 million didn't vote last time. I really hope that number is less. I really hope the 80 million that didn't vote in the last election, I really hope that's turned to half. Because believe it or not, Elon Musk, Peter Thiel, they got RoboCop plans. You see what I mean? And they don't care who's a Republican or a Democrat, you know, and that goes to your saying, Sam, man, they got billionaires on both sides. Yeah. And they got Elon Musk is one of them. You see what I mean? Peter Thiel is one of them. So, you know, you better demand up front that they don't have shit to do with the next government, like straight up. You better demand that they are held up on, you know, for whatever crimes, whatever shit they played a role in. You better demand it out of anybody that you're voting for, you know. And if you don't know about when I'm saying Peter Thiel, then just look up Palantir, because that's what I'm talking about. They're getting money from your taxes. Palantir is a company that's going around with ICE scanning people's faces. That's some RoboCop shit. These people want to know. They want a robot. See, right now it's human beings holding that technology up in their hand. They want a robot to have that. And they want a robot to be able to look at you on the street and know everybody in this whole goddamn town. That's what they want. They want to know who you've been talking to on social media. They want that robot to know that. Who's in your messenger box. They want that robot to know that. They want the robot to know who your mama is and who your mama been talking to and who your daddy been talking to and who your sister and your brother and your kids been talking to. They want to know, do one of them have been smoking weed and when it's not legal in that town? They want to know which one of them, have a traffic ticket. They want to know which one of them got arrested 10, 20 years ago for a felony. They want to know all that shit adjacent to your life too. That's really what they're working on. That's what they're working on, man. So this is not a Republican or Democrat. See, last year they were able to polarize people on who's a Republican and who's a Democrat, and then they could label good or bad. Very simple. Good, bad. That's not what I'm talking about. I'm not talking about that. That's too easy. That's way too easy. There's a whole lot of gray area between good and bad. And you know what I'm saying? And 80% bad is far worse than 80% good. You see what I'm saying? So 80% bad is far good, better than 80% good. So you may not get simple choices all the time, but you're going to have to dig in and make some choices and use your brain and be real. You're going to have to look in your heart. You're going to have to look in your heart. You know what I mean? And ask yourself, what the fuck is going on and what am I going to do about it? Now, I'm not suggesting that only voting is going to solve the problem, because I told you they're making these robots because they want to take your guns. They're scared. They know no American citizen is going to go town to town and try to take guns from people. They know that. Very unlikely. Waco, Texas, there's people like that. That basically are not going to want to have it. So they're going to give the job to the computers and the robots. They're going to give the job to AI. You see what I mean? Much easier. It didn't turn out well. And who was Bill Clinton? Bill Clinton was Waco, right? Right? So there's a little bit of blood for some of y'all that need it to be a Democrat before you jump on it. Bill Clinton was the one who sent the ATF down there to Waco, right? And although the guy was a lunatic and thought that he was Jesus, you know what I'm saying, and his followers did too, you know what I'm saying? And I mean, there's a lot to that. But other people who don't believe he was Jesus still didn't believe you should be able to go and take people's guns. See, so there's more than one story in there. And the guy who did the Oklahoma bombing was there and saw that. And he didn't give a fuck about David Koresh and what David Koresh believed in. No. He cared about the aspect that they were coming to to get there because they had guns. That's what he cared about. And what did he do? Then he went and blew up the FBI building in Oklahoma because of the guns. So Bill Clinton did that. So listen to what I'm saying. Bill Clinton was in the Epstein files. Did you know that? Just listen. So was Elon Musk. So was Peter Thiel. Yeah. They was hanging out with Epstein. So again, you might want to put this a little bit together. You see what I mean? And just figure out where do you fit in all of this. And I would suggest that if you're listening to me, and unless you're the government or something like that, which I would find that very strange. You know, if the government was, that would tell me that they really are weak right now if they're watching people like me. But what it would tell me is that most people, 99% of the people that watch me are everyday people, $1 million range or less. You see what I mean? $1 million, maybe a couple million at the max. A few of you are liberals like that, you know what I'm saying? And less. But the majority, 85%, 80%, are not even anywhere close to millionaire status, just average people. And we need to look out for each other, man. We need to do something together. We need to be prepared together, and we need to use everything that we have at our disposal. And voting is one of those things. You see what I mean? So for those that don't know, you need to go out and make sure you're registered to vote, right? Registering as a Democrat and Republican is usually easier, right? It doesn't mean you have to vote Democrat or Republican. There's nothing that says being registered as a Democrat means you have to vote Democrat. No, it's just an easy way to be registered to vote. Right now, they don't even want you registering. Don't you see that? Trump doesn't even want people voting. Don't you get that? So register, register. It's an easy way. Yeah, it's sad, but that's how it's set up because they're actively going out there. They will make sure, they have a lot of resources, Democrats and Republicans, to register people. So, but if you don't, then go downtown to your voter office, register. You see what I mean? Call your county clerk, register voters, Board of Elections, and make sure you are registered to vote or registered in the state with your correct address. Because if you're not at the address, if your ID doesn't say you're at the address where you're registered to vote, they could stop you from voting. And that's what they've been talking about with this big, beautiful American bill. I mean, big, voting rights act that Trump and the Republicans are doing. However, there's states that are already moving out ahead of that to do it even on a state level, even if it doesn't become federal. So be aware of that. Right now, they are scared of being voted out. Elon Musk and Peter Thiel are scared that American citizens are tired of them and are going to vote people out of power that do their bidding. That's what's going on. You see what I mean? And Elon Musk and Peter Thiel, if you ever watch RoboCop, they would be the billionaire corporation behind the cop, the robot, the AI dude. That's exactly what this is about. You see what I mean? One of them creating the brains for the robot and the other one, the machinery, the body. You see what I mean? So just think about it. If you see those little ice machines where they scanning your faces and shit like that, just think of that inside of a robot's body and just being the eye of the robot. Yes. So, you better think. It's not a whole lot of time left. They want to know everything about you when they're doing this. Who you are, your Social Security, your tax status. Did you pay your taxes last week? When was the last? Do you know what could be done with this information? Let's just say you think it's innocent. Let's just say you didn't pay your taxes in 2 years. What happens if all of a sudden they just start throwing you in jail for that? You didn't pay your taxes. Robot says, gotta go to jail. What you gonna do then? And how you think it's going to feel when everybody else is watching you be hauled off and ain't doing nothing about it? Just like these immigrants are being hauled off by ICE, everybody watching. What do you think? What if it's you next time? What if it's you for one of your infractions? You think you're perfect? You think you don't have a criminal record? You think you don't have you never been stopped for a traffic violation? You don't have anybody in your family that's a criminal? You don't have anybody in your family that broke the law? You don't have anybody in your family that didn't pay taxes one year? You don't have anybody in your family that said something bad on social media? Nothing. You're squeaky clean, huh? Squeaky clean people? Who are the squeaky clean people out there? Yeah, exactly. Not too many. Not too many squeaky. So the unsqueaky clean might need to stick together.
Explaining how the process is going to work. Obviously, we can expect some bumps in the road, but as you said, at least the machinery is in place to get this going.
Right, but then we end this with a very tricky problem. I paid the tariff, ultimately. I'm the consumer.
Okay, so what they're talking about is the tariffs that Trump administration, the executive orders, right? They weren't Congress. They weren't laws by Congress. They weren't passed by the people of the United States of America's elected officials, not in the Senate either. They bypassed all of that. They were executive orders. So this is what we're talking about. Did it happen or not? Put a 1 in the chat if Trump's tariffs that they're discussing were executive orders. Put a 2 in the chat if they were not. Nadine, I also want you to participate, Nadine. Put a 1 in the chat if they were executive orders, the tariffs that they're discussing. Put a 2 in the chat if they were not. Okay? I think they were executive orders. What does Nadine think? 1 in the chat if you think they're executive orders. 2 in the chat if you think they were not. Was being discussed. I just want to make sure we're on the same page here. Maybe somebody is behind in the stream listening to the, sometimes people do that. But in any case, yeah, right now what they're discussing is the tariffs that Trump did. That's why they call it Trump tariffs. They were executive orders, and they're talking about the effects, and they're talking about the refunds now. You see, so the tariffs, people said you can't do these tariffs. They're illegal. Why are they getting a refund? Because they were illegal. So the tariffs, the companies, the American companies had to pay those tariffs. It wasn't the people sending the goods or selling the goods. It was the people buying it. The companies that were buying foreign goods had to pay these tariffs. Now what's happening is the Supreme Court made a ruling and said, no, those tariffs were illegal. So you have to refund the money that those companies spent, that tariff money. And interest. Yeah, you got to pay them over the amount that they paid because that was their money. That money could have been sitting in a bank somewhere making money for them, right? So that's what's happening right now. They're getting the refunds, right? But the people who bought from those companies, like you and me and everybody else that's a regular person that isn't a billionaire, that doesn't own a corporation, that doesn't own my company, you don't get a refund. So who are these people that get these refunds? Basically billionaires. Who did Donald Trump pass a law for, a tax law? Who did the Republicans pass the biggest tax decrease in the history of the country for billionaires? It was the Republicans who just did that under MAGA Mike Johnson and Donald Trump. That's who did it, right? So basically the billionaires win again. Yeah. Guess who the loser is again? There you have it. I guess somebody named Nadine didn't want to say what we were talking about.
Yeah.
She didn't want to. If it's a girl, if it's a boy, it could be my name is Nadine. I am a robot. Nadine Baker G5C. Probably, you know what I'm saying? I work for Elon Musk. Oops, I'm being told to be quiet now. Okay.
Yes, the importer might have done, and then Walmart paid it, but I paid the higher price that Walmart charged. Do I get anything back?
Not from the government.
Yeah, that's a good question. Do you get anything back, Nadine?
The importer might have done, and then Walmart paid it.
Here we go.
Very tricky problem. I paid the tariff, ultimately. I'm the consumer. I mean, yes, the importer might have done, and then Walmart paid it, but I paid the higher price that Walmart charged. Do I get anything back?
Not from the government. Not from the government. Not from the government. Not from the government. Not from the government.
The higher price the importer might have done, and then Walmart paid it, but I paid the higher price that Walmart charged. Do I get anything back?
Not from the government. Not from the government. Not from the government. Not from the government. Not from the. Not from the. Not from the. Not from. Not from the government.
Not from who? Who you not going to get anything back from?
Not from the government.
Not from the government. So your broke ass, Nadine, you ain't getting shit back, okay? Because you're too broke. You don't have the right to get it back, okay? You're on your own, Nadine. You're on your own, and your kids, okay? I hope your mortgage is paid, because if not, you're gonna be on your own in your car, okay, with your kids and shit. And that's the sad part about it. Nobody gives a fuck. These billionaires don't care if you have kids and you got to live in your car and you got to pay more higher goods, but they care about their friends. They look out for their billionaire friends, and their friends are going to get this. They're going to get this money back, and they're going to get interest on their money, because that's what the American people voted for. The American people voted for rules and laws like this. And until the American people learn how to vote for rules and laws that work for the American people, it's going to continue to work like this.
As you said, only the importers of record can request and receive a refund from the government. There have been a few lawsuits against Costco, for example, by consumers who paid a higher price at the checkout.
Yeah, exactly, Hamdi. Exactly. Pay the rent to the landlord. Who's the landlord these days? Yeah, it's some rich corporations that bought up all the property because there was no laws restricting them. You see what I mean? There was no help for first-time buyers either for homes. None of that shit. They just swept it all up. Well, hey, pay your taxes on your property. Yeah, if you already had a home and you got it from your daddy or your grandma or something like that, guess what? More taxes on that home now. Better pay that sucker.
But directly from the government, consumers cannot get a refund.
So if all
facts, and if you living in your car, don't get your car repoed. Exactly. It's so sad, and it's so sad. It's so sad. Please don't be angry at me either, because I'm just saying it so it's just plainly understood. I'm not getting gratification out of it. Everybody that I know is suffering one way or the other. Even if some people are getting through it a little better than others, nobody, no average American, no person with $1 million or less is laughing at this, because they're all, look, you could have $1 million yourself. You could have $1 million. Does everybody in your family have $1 million? Does everyone in your network, in your town, in your neighbor? $1 million ain't a whole lot. $1 million these days just means you live among the regular people. You might be worth $1 million, but it doesn't mean much. It could be in your house. It could be the investment that whatever house you live in could be worth $1 million now. That's easy in DC, but you still got to live with the rest of the people in DC. You still got to walk outside, right? So everyone else that's around you is still suffering that has $1 million or less. And so that's what you got to think about. Like, community means you pass laws so everybody in your community is okay, not just you. That's what that means. So if you're just one person that's doing okay, man, that's not good enough in a community, in a society. A community in a society, it means you're thinking about more than yourself. When you pay taxes, you're supposed to be thinking about more than yourself. That's the whole point of it. It by design is meant to deal with issues of the entire block, of the entire town you're living in, so that it can make things safer for you and everyone else. So obviously, if everybody out on the street doesn't make things safer, I mean, I'm pretty sure this is going to go down like a RoboCop movie, because see, they got people that putting people out of their homes, putting people like folks been saying, putting people out of their cars. Even, what do you think those people are going to do? Those people are going to be on the street. Those people are going to be angry. Those people are going to be protesting. That's exactly what's going to happen. And they're going to be angry, and then they're going to come take pictures of them and see they're angry, right? But the truth is that these people don't give a fuck. They already know that people are going to be on the street angry. What they're thinking about is, are you going to take power or stop them? That's the only thing they're thinking about. They don't care how much pain you go through. None of that. They're sociopaths. And the only thing they're worried about is as if they're going to lose power. That's it. Anything else does not matter. They don't even care about the fucking law. They don't care about the law. Like, that's bad. When they don't care about, see, they know that they can hide enough money to where even if they lose power, it's going to be hard to bring them to justice. They've already thought about this. You see what I mean? So they've already been working this out. And yeah, a few of them, they're stooges. Now, the broke ones, the stooges that they put up to do their dirty work for them Elon Musk will pay no price for nothing. Zero. He won't pay. He might lose some contracts, government contracts. He won't go to jail. He's got way too much money, period. Way too much money. Okay. He's going to throw money around that is going to make people bend. That's his plan. Because why? Because it's always worked before. You see what I'm saying? Peter Thiel is going to negotiate their contracts, what they know. They're going to threaten. They're going to hold people hostage, and they're going to sell whatever information they have to someone else who's going to save them. They're going to use what they know to bargain to get themselves a pass. That's what they're going to do in order for the next administration to be able to take power. That's what I'm guessing. You see what I mean? Don't get me wrong. It sounds pessimistic. Maybe a real free country, right, would, do more than that. Yeah. You saw people in other countries lock motherfuckers up, kick people out of government when they found out they were associated with Elon Musk. You didn't see that in the United States. That's what I mean by the difference between free and not free. So
importers and their various subsidiaries and large companies are getting refunds. Does this become de facto a windfall for them? Because I hardly see them turning around to me and say, those oranges you bought, Mr. Quest, I need to...
Yeah, them you're right. You're right, Ham. You're right. Exactly. They ain't paying no taxes anyway. They ain't paying no taxes, man. The tax code is written for them to avoid it. They know exactly what they're doing. And on top of that, there's always been some loopholes there. It's like they know the loopholes. They act like they spending all their money. Come on, man. Come on. Yeah, and then they just give their CEOs big checks. You see what I mean? But what do you pay in taxes anyway? There's no corporate tax. I guess the only people that's scared right now is in New York City, right? With Mom Donnie. They're the only ones. And the only way you can get them to pay is on their properties, right? But they weren't really paying shit on their properties either, right? They weren't paying their fair share. They weren't paying nothing, man. They've been getting away with paying nothing. Meanwhile, the average American citizen uses every little penny that they get every month just to stay alive, like straight up. And these people don't have to do nothing, and their money just increases and increases and increases because they have so much. Their property just increases and increases because they got the lick of the pit, the pick of the litter. I'm sorry, I said that backwards. Damn. All right, so enough said on the tariffs. People know about the tariffs. People know about a lot, to be honest, but things are so bad, people are also a little immune to the news, right? Because after you see a certain amount of news that's just fucked up and fucked up and fucked up, it doesn't do the same thing to people's senses, right? So eventually the American people are going to go to sociopath mode, what I call it, right? The same type of dynamic where the billionaires are already in, where the billionaires are not impressed with people crying and suffering. That doesn't hit them anymore. That stopped a long time ago. That's why they can do what they could do. But the average American person is also getting over it, and is starting to think differently. They're starting to think like, there's pain, there's suffering. We've seen a lot of crying. I've seen a lot of suffering with my eyes. And now they're starting to think, so who's going to do something about this? And I think it's really getting about that time, where they're just saying, enough is enough, man. And that's what I'm thinking. People don't stay in the same emotional state. It's not static. Once you see enough suffering and pain and acts like, we see ICE doing these kind of things, and I'm just talking about the inhumane way they're doing it. Of course, I believe in comprehensive immigration reform. I don't believe in manhandling people and tearing people away from tearing babies away from their mother's health. Fucking no. I don't believe in that bullshit. I'm totally against that. And I don't believe in what ICE is doing. I believe what they're doing is wrong. It's just meant to put fear. But the problem is that once you put it out there, it comes back. The chickens come home to roost. And as a matter of fact, Malcolm X, big up to Malcolm X too for making that popular. Chickens come home to roost, and I can't wait to see the chickens come home to roost. On this one, I can't wait to see it. I'm disgusted by it as a human being living outside of the U.S. As an American citizen living outside of the U.S., I'm disgusted by what I'm seeing. I mean, you have to imagine, I have to be totally disgusted to come up here every day and just say these things so plainly. I am disgusted. Like, I have zero respect for anybody associated with the United States government right now that makes excuses for it. Now, you might be a government worker and come to the side and say, listen, just want to let you know, I ain't down with this shit either. Well, then I rock with you. In that case, I rock with you. But the ones that rock with this shit, fuck no. There's no way in hell as a human being I can go along with this shit. There's no way in hell as a free person living in a free part of the world I can go along with this. There's no way in hell can I live in a country like Denmark where people actually have rights, basic rights. I'm not talking about just a little. Basic rights are broad. You see what I mean? There's no way in hell I can live in a decent society and watch my own country crumble like this when it comes to the basics, basic ethics, basic morals, basic principles. There's no fucking way. You see what I mean? So speaking of the Epstein folks and the tariffs, and speaking of, Bill Clinton, he was on Epstein. Think about that. Waco, Texas, Bill Clinton, Epstein Island. I mean, not Epstein Island, but Epstein. Think about that. Did they have any conversations about Waco, Texas? I don't know. But here we are. Trump, Epstein, right? Trump, Epstein. The billionaires got their little check again. They got it again. They got their tariff money back. You see what I mean? And now on to what's going on in Zorro, right? Because there's some recent developments here. Let me see here.
Jeffrey Epstein owned the largest property here in the state of New Mexico.
I was like, okay, these people are important. And they had named it Zorro Ranch.
So this is the ranch, what it looks like as the sun is setting. You can see it over the horizon there.
I've seen a lot of really bad things. I haven't seen anything to this extent.
That's the gate my sister went through, like to the gates of hell.
What happened here? How did it happen? Why did it happen?
I believe the first cover-up was in 2019 with me.
Some breaking news overnight.
Billionaire Jeffrey Epstein,
once connected with some of the most powerful figures in the world,
was arrested late last night.
Decades before Jeffrey Epstein's name appeared everywhere, he quietly bought this New Mexico ranch in 1993, sold to him by the state's former governor, and renamed Zorro. Off a two-lane road going the back way between Albuquerque and Santa Fe, right on the edge of the radio signal from AM station KIVA.
We're going to Rock of Talk 420 here on the Kiva.
Eddie Aragon has been hosting his show here for 14 years.
We've been covering the Epstein stuff since inception. So naturally, a lot of people with concern were picking up the phone and calling me with various tips or ideas.
One of those tips, an unsigned email, came later that fall.
The big part of email that really impacted my decision to call the FBI is the fact that you had mention of two women buried in the hills outside Zorro Ranch. two younger girls where they had engaged and died in rough fetish sex. And so that was very definitely a red flag.
It's why he says he reported it immediately.
We went in and we itemized the various components of that email. That was it. And I never heard from the FBI again.
By that point, Epstein had been dead for months after his suicide behind bars. Following his arrest earlier that year, in July, investigations into his abuse ensnared his other properties, like in Manhattan, Florida, and the Caribbean. But in New Mexico, federal investigators told a top FBI official, at this time, we don't have probable cause for a...
So when people look at this, keep in mind, what's happening at the same time is the United States, what is it? It's the Congress. They have a committee about the Epstein files, right? The committee right now is split over whether they should give Ghislaine Maxwell a pardon or clemency, right? Which means to get her out of jail, right? Or not. Can you believe that? Can you believe that? There's still representatives that believe they need to get her to believe. Here's the thing. Ghislaine Maxwell has been asking for clemency. She's saying she will appear to speak if you let her out of jail. Only if you let her out of jail will she share. Will she help investigations regarding this matter? Think about that. And just think about the fact that there are representatives that get paid by the American people, right, that are actually saying, yeah, we're willing to do it. She's the only one person that's been thrown in jail outside of Epstein. She's the only person that served time for any crime, and they're talking about letting her out. That's literally what's going on right now. And the midterms are coming up. So that means each one of those people that's thinking about letting her out of jail just so she could testify, we don't need her fucking ass anymore. We have the files. The American people are the ones who own the files. The only problem is that this administration won't fucking follow the law and release them. But why do we need to give her a pass when we have the files? You see what I mean? Why aren't these same senators pushing for the files to be released? I mean, not senators, congressional members. Why are they sitting there saying, wait a second, why are they bargaining over letting her out of jail when they can just say, clearly, no, the president needs to release the rest of the files. We need to go on record, charge whoever's at the DOJ $10,000 a month, $10,000 a day until they release these files. Why can't they go on the record with that? Look, you got the tariffs. The U.S. taxpayer is giving out money, free money to billionaires now because there's interest on those tariffs, right? So they're giving out extra money back. The U.S. taxpayer is paying for it, right? Same people that pay a higher cost for goods are paying for it. Well, you may as well pay $10,000. Be paying get fined $10,000 a day because it's the U.S. taxpayer that will be fined. They will be fined, right? But you see where this is going. It's still connected to the taxpayer somehow, right? But why don't we just do that? Actually, I think it's even better because maybe it's the opposite. With the fines, we get something from these people. So they're fined personally, or are they fined personally? Let me look this up. That's a good question to look up right now. The committee who is in charge of the Epstein files being released and putting pressure on the government, right? Are they threatening $10,000 fines to the government or the individuals in government if they do not release the rest of the files? I'm just curious about that. Let me just be clear because I want to see what really is happening with this. Now, it says the situation surrounding the Epstein files is quite complex right now, especially following the passage of the Epstein Files Transparency Act in late 2025. This is 6 months ago. Still, they haven't released it. 6 months now has gone by. To address your specific question about the files, right, about the fines, While there is immense pressure on the government, the legal mechanisms being used are slightly different from a flat 10,000 fine. Here's the breakdown of the current situation as of April 2026. Are there $10,000 fines? There is no specific 10,000 daily fine written into Epstein Files Transparency Act itself. The law is passed mandated the release of all files December 19th, 2025, but it did not include an automatic financial penalty for missing that deadline. However, the confusion likely stems from contempt of Congress proceedings. When a committee like the House Oversight Committee subpoenas an individual or government official and they refuse to comply, they can be held in contempt. Under federal law, a conviction for contempt of Congress can lead to fines of up to $100,000 depending on the specific charge, imprisonment up to 12 months. Of course, Trump will probably pardon people, right? That's the next thing I want to ask, because it's federal. Who is in charge and applying pressure? The House Oversight Committee is a primary body leading the charge. They have been aggressively pressuring the Department of Justice and specific individuals. Attorney Pam Bondi, she's out now. The committee recently voted to subpoena her to explain why thousands of pages remain redacted or withheld despite the law. The contempt threat. Lawmakers like Republican Thomas Massey and Representative Thomas Massey and Representative Connor have suggested that officials who block the release could face obstruction of justice charges or impeachment rather than simple fines. The Clinton subpoenas. In early 2026, committee also moved the same committee to hold Bill Clinton and Hillary Clinton in contempt for refusing to comply with subpoenas related to the investigation, which carries a legal risk of significant fines and potential jail time if prosecuted. What is the current status of the files? While the DOJ released about 3.5 million in late January 26, the release has been widely criticized. Redactions. Many documents were released with heavy blackouts, which lawmakers argues violates the Act's requirements that no record be withheld or political sensitivity or reputational harm, right? It shouldn't be withheld for those reasons. Privacy concerns. Some files were briefly withdrawn after it was discovered accidentally contained private information of victims, leading to further delays. Inspector General audit. As of yesterday, the DOJ internal watchdog has opened a review to see if the department intentionally slow-walked or improperly hid the files to protect the files' specific public figures. Public figures. Okay, so the pressure is coming through the subpoenas and the contempt charges, which carry large fines and jail time, rather than preset $10,000 fine. Okay, so can the president pardon them on any charges? On any fines or otherwise? I'm just curious about that. Yeah, this is where the legal chess game between Congress and the executive branch gets really intense. The short answer is it depends entirely on whether the fine is civil or criminal. Under the U.S. Constitution and reinforced by Supreme Court cases like Ex parte Grossman, the president's pardon power is broad, but it has very specific it has an off switch too. Okay. The criminal fines. The president can pardon. If an individual, like a government official, is prosecuted for criminal contempt of Congress, this is considered an offense against the United States. The fine. If they're convicted in a federal court, in order to pay a fine or go to jail, the president can swoop in and issue a pardon or commute the sentence. The result, the fine is wiped away and the person doesn't have to pay. This is the scenario most people think of when they hear about pardons. 2. Civil fines. The president cannot pardon civil fines. If a court or committee uses civil contempt to coerce someone into releasing the files, the rules change. The goal. Civil contempt isn't meant to punish a past crime. It's meant to force a future action, i.e., you will pay $10,000 every day until you hand over the Epstein files. Okay. The law. The Supreme Court has generally held that the president cannot pardon civil contempt. Why? Because a civil fine is seen as a remedial tool for private or coordinate branch rights. Okay. If the president could pardon civil fines, they could effectively tell any government official to ignore every court order and subpoena forever, which would break the system of checks and balances. So now we're getting somewhere. Okay. So he cannot pardon his civil contempt. And there's fines, 10,000, 100,000 can be put on an individual, even if they're a government employee. The government versus individual loophole. There's a major catch. The president cannot pardon the government itself. If the House Oversight Committee successfully sues the Department of Justice and judge levies a fine against the agencies, the president has no power to pardon the department. However, the president could theoretically direct the Treasury, or the DOJ not to pay it, or use executive influence to tie the matter up in court. So that's where he would likely go, even in a civil contempt, right? Why this matters for the Epstein files. Right now, the committee is trying to use criminal contempt against specific individuals like the Attorney General to make the political cost of hiding the files too high. The conflict. If the president pardons an official who is withholding the Epstein files, it creates a massive political firestorm, right? But people, see, this is what I'm saying. People don't give a fuck about the politics anymore. There was a time where American citizens didn't want their political representatives to be criminals, didn't want government workers to be criminals. That time is past, man. They've literally voted for criminals. So that third of Trump's base, they don't care about they in fact applaud criminal behavior. They applaud it, period. So they're going by all means necessary law. You see what I mean? The ends justifies the means, meaning criminality is also necessary, right? Or if necessary, use it by all means. So I just think it's unconventional warfare what's going on right now. You can't go by these rules. While it might save the official from paying a fine, it would be viewed by many as confession. But we already know they're guilty. And his base doesn't care. The government is actively protecting the people's name in the files. Okay, summary. Yeah, so folks, there that is. So let's just peep a little more of this. This is just...
Search. Do you think the feds should have searched the ranch back in 19?
Absolutely.
Hector Balderas was the New Mexico Attorney General who had opened his own investigation into Epstein until the Southern District of New York asked his office to stand down.
As soon as we began investigating in the summer of 19, we were contacted by the New York DOJ, and they asked us to stop interviewing some of the survivors that we were both targeting. And that was for reasons that they didn't want to create duplicate testimony and potentially put at risk the case.
Did that...
Yo, Sterling, you right. Exactly. She just sent Trump a mysterious thumb drive. Exactly. And keep in mind, all of this is the United States people's own property. So anything that she passes along to them, it's our property, except they're withholding it from us, the knowledge of what's in it from the American people. So, I don't think you have to be a genius to figure out the American people are in danger, that what's in those files represents some kind of danger. Whatever secrets they're keeping, whatever they're doing, it's not to the benefit of the American people, because this is the same DOJ that won't release the Epstein files. The rest of them, they're covering it up. The same administration that literally ran on releasing the files and claiming that it's Democrats in it will not release the files. You see what I mean? And now that we realize it's broader than what has been said before, like Trump never said, yeah, Elon Musk, my friend Elon Musk knows Epstein. He never said that. He never volunteered that information to his voters. He never told people Peter Thiel knows Epstein. He never went out there and said that to his voters. He never went out and mentioned anyone else. In fact, if anything, he just basically covered up and shut his own mouth about any relationships, that are going on with these people. They're all just incidental. You know what I mean? All of them incidental, even though that Epstein was blackmailing and committing espionage and and trying to get inside state secrets to bargain them for insider trading and for other things. You see what I mean? Other purposes. So this is all crimes against the American people. All crimes against the American people. But the American people don't even get to know what the crimes are, really. You don't really get to know who's involved, how it worked, nothing. You don't even get to know if there's more people out there that have benefited, been involved, and just have not been charged. You don't get to know that. Your job as the taxpayer is to just trust the government blindly. You have no say anymore. You just go along with it. That's all you have to do. You'll be fine. Just give us 2 more weeks, 1 more year, next spring. Wait till after the next election, and we promise you, okay?
Seem reasonable to you?
On the front end, yes, that's very common. You pick who's got the bigger hammer and you work together.
What was unusual, he says, is how federal prosecutors then went dark instead of sharing information later that could have helped New Mexico bring state charges.
We assumed, with their reputation for being aggressive, that they were going to be aggressive and then share that evidence with us. It was a very simple 1-2 punch.
And that's happened before in other cases.
Absolutely.
But it didn't happen here.
It didn't happen here, and every lawmaker and investigator is asking the question, why would you enter his house in Manhattan or in Florida and not search here?
Balderas didn't know federal investigators determined they had no probable cause to search the ranch, and he had never heard, for example, about the unsubstantiated tip referencing buried bodies shared with the FBI, which is not commenting on that, nor is the DOJ. Balderas only discovered it all when
I don't know, but that ranch and just how it's situated on that hill, that just, to me, just feels like Death Valley. Like, it just feels to me like, because it's so isolated, like to me, they're talking about 2 bodies possibly. In my mind, I'm thinking 50 bodies, 100, I'm thinking murder house here. That's what I'm thinking. Like, yeah, because it's so isolated. The guy, and you got to remember, he owned the whole town, basically. It's not that he just owned that property, because when you have so much power and you live in a town, by virtue of the amount of money you have, everyone is kissing your ass. Everyone you're doing favors for everyone. You're solving everyone's problem just because you're in the town. You see what I mean? You can literally run everything just by your presence, maybe not directly, but indirectly. You see, that's how much power Jeffrey Epstein had. So, yeah, remember that he's a billionaire. How many billionaires were there? How many billion? Let me see something. Let me just ask. How many billionaires lived in New Mexico or in the same part of New Mexico as Epstein and his Zorro Ranch? I'm just curious. Right, because that's a specific county or something. I think he's pretty much the one. Let me see here. Okay, as of April 26th. There's only one right now. There's only one. You see what I'm saying? I'm talking, but let me just go back. I want to know only about when Epstein was there. Look, when Epstein was actively at Zorro Ranch from roughly 1993 till 2019, the area and still characterized by a who's who of high net worth individuals, even weren't all permanent residents. Okay, here's the breakdown. Immediate billionaire neighbor, Tom Ford. Okay, so Tom Ford was there, owner, fashion mogul, and billionaire, Tom Ford. Okay, yeah. Famous neighboring property is Cerrón Pelón Ranch, located directly north of Zorro Ranch. So Tom Ford was his direct billionaire friend, right? While Ford is not linked to Epstein's crime, the two largest private properties in the Galisteo Basin were essentially side by side for 20 years. I mean, fashion mogul. So you already kind of, that's very, very right off this. I mean, wasn't Epstein a fashion mogul? Power players. The King family. The land surrounding Zorro Ranch was largely owned by the family Bruce King and three-term Democratic governor of New Mexico. Okay. I even think one of them had some charges or allegations. Bill Richardson. Was it Bill Richardson? I'm not sure who that was. Okay. I don't want to say too much because I'm not sure about that, but I believe something like that. While the Kings were wealthy cattle ranchers and political titans rather than tech billionaires, they were the most influential neighbors Epstein had. So the conflict, Epstein actually purchased the original area from Bruce King in 1993. Recent files released 2026 have highlighted that Epstein donated significantly to the political campaigns of Bruce's son, Gary King, who later became Attorney General. You see that? That's exactly what I'm saying. These are people like, this is how it works. This is how it works in reality. You don't just own property like that and are a billionaire and not have, far reaching access and ability to everything around you. You see what I'm saying? So, let me see here. Boop. Here we go. Yo, I want people in my chat. It's okay that you criticize people, but I want you engaged in what we're talking about. We're having a conversation. Have respect for the conversation. Immerse yourself in what we're talking about right here. That's all. So, Taj, learn how to do that, man. That's it. That's not hard to do. That's like being at a conversation with anybody else. In real life, you don't just all of a sudden go off the rails on, be part of the conversation that's happening, man. You invited to be part of the conversation. All right. So, now while all that shit is going on,
about the unsubstantiated tip referencing
Ghislaine Maxwell, right, is giving files, new USB chips to the Department of Justice. She's begging Congress to let her speak now. So if Congress lets her speak, she's saying, I will speak. Please let me speak. I want to speak, but I'm only going to do it if you commute my sentence. I'm only going to do it if you give me a get out of jail free card. And she's doing that, right? So let's see here what that sounds like. I'm curious. 2 seconds. Yeah. I really want people to engage the content. I don't want people just going off on their typical, what they would say in any chat, typical political rhetoric. I'm not here for typical political rhetoric. You got to be more critical, and you have to say things that transcend everybody's political views. You see what I mean? So the things I'm saying, it shouldn't matter if you're a Democrat or a Republican or an independent. The Epstein files conversation, how it's being handled. Ghislaine Maxwell should not, register in your brain like, it's a Democrat. That shouldn't register in your brain. What should register in your brain is how she's maneuvering and how you are the sucker because you pay taxes. Okay. And you can't do anything about it, or how you're going to do something about it. How are you going to mobilize in detail? For example, part of my mobilizing is telling people, vote. Get out there and vote. Make sure you're registered to vote. If you're not registered, you're not even prepared. Forget everything else you're trying to do. Forget all your thoughts. If you're not even registered to vote, you're likely not going to do anything about this, because you're giving up the easiest thing. This is your easiest weapon, and you're giving it up. So, that's what I'm saying. Get out there and register to vote. You got time. The midterms are still coming, but don't wait forever. Get this done way before the midterms. Way before the midterms. Secure your right to vote. Make sure you know exactly, not only that you are registered to vote, but that you know exactly what voting station to go to, because they're trying to fool people right now. Like straight up, like you you need to talk to the main authority on the phone. Get them on the phone. Go down there to their desk and ask. Make sure you see and look at the person telling you exactly what to do and record them. You see what I'm saying? Because your rights are on the line. But here's Ghislaine Maxwell. Here is what's going on with Trump. Thanks to Brian Taylor. Let's see here. Brian, let's see what he's got to say. Brian Tyler Cohen. Here we go.
That some Republicans on the House Oversight Committee are split over whether Trump should pardon Ghislaine Maxwell. Quote, members on the House Oversight and Government Reform Committee are divided over whether President Donald Trump should pardon Jeffrey Epstein's convicted co-conspirator Ghislaine Maxwell in exchange for her cooperation in the panel's Epstein investigation, Chair James Comer said in an interview.
This is the new thing that they're working on. Trump wants Congress to have the conversation, put it out there so that it doesn't look so bad when he either pardons her, right? This kind of thing. So he wants the conversation to be, hey, she wants to help you all, but you guys won't let her help. You see what I mean? Help her. Help. Just give her, commute her sentence. She's already been in jail long enough. She's already done her time. Why don't you want to know what she has to say? She can help you. She's better. You want to know what's in the Epstein files? Well, she was there. She can tell you everything, right? That's the whole thing. But it has to be done with her being given a free card. You see what I'm saying? So it's better that this conversation comes out through Congress. And this is what they're trying to do. They're trying to get congressional members to carry water for Trump. And they're doing it. They're doing it. Look, the Oversight Committee is split. They're split. So half and half. Half say hell fucking no. And the other half say, yeah, maybe we should give her a pardon.
Some insane news here as Politico reports that some Republicans on the House Oversight Committee are split over whether Trump should pardon Ghislaine Maxwell. Quote, members on the House Oversight and Government Reform Committee are divided over whether President Donald Trump should pardon Jeffrey Epstein's convicted co-conspirator Ghislaine Maxwell in exchange for her cooperation in the panel's Epstein investigation, Chair James Comer said in an interview Wednesday. This comes as Maxwell's attorney has said that Maxwell will only speak to the Oversight Committee if she's granted clemency. Robert Garcia has said that Maxwell will only speak to the Oversight Committee if she's granted clemency. Comes in the panel's Epstein investigation, Chair James Comer said in an interview.
So James Comer, the head Republican on the committee. So you see, he's the head of the committee, Comer. He's a Republican. And he's saying what he's being told by Ghislaine Maxwell's attorney, right? So they're carrying water for her, right? Now here, again.
In exchange for her cooperation in the panel's Epstein investigation, on the House Oversight and Government Reform Committee are divided over whether President Donald Trump should pardon Jeffrey Epstein's convicted co-conspirator Ghislaine Maxwell in exchange for her cooperation in the panel's Epstein investigation, Chair James Comer said in an interview Wednesday. This comes as Maxwell's attorney has said that Maxwell will only speak to the Oversight Committee if she's granted clemency. Robert Garcia, ranking member of the Oversight Committee, a Democrat, said, quote, absolutely not. Oversight Dems are united in opposing a pardon for Ghislaine Maxwell. It's outrageous that any Republicans on our committee would consider this. She is an abuser and known liar. But that's not exactly the sentiment on the right. According to Politico, when asked whether he believed it was a favorable deal to issue a pardon in return for Maxwell's testimony, Comer said, a lot of people do.
Yeah, so he doesn't want to say who those members are. So they're protecting the members that want her to be, that want her to be pardoned, essentially, or have her sentence commuted. So that means they're afraid of what the voters think, right? But they don't want, but it's not so hard to figure out who it is because this is just a committee. There's only a few people on the damn committee any goddamn way. You see what I mean? So people can easily find out, but they're saying it very clearly. It is Republican members on the committee that want her released or want her to get a pardon or to be promised a pardon if she testifies in front of Congress. And they want it to be in writing. They want it to be guaranteed, right? So they think that's a fair offer to let the only other person that's ever served time for sex trafficking along and whatever else was going on along with Jeffrey Epstein, they want to give her a pardon. But here's the thing. How do you know she's not involved in other crimes that just haven't been prosecuted yet? How do you know she's not involved in murder? How do you know she didn't know anything about the murders? What don't you think maybe that's why they're not releasing the Epstein files? Because there's more shit in it. I mean, do you think what they're withholding, what do you think is so sensitive about it? What's the reasoning? The very people that are withholding the files are supposed to explain why it's a necessity to keep these files closed. So it could only be the only accepted answer is that there's more people that are guilty. Because if there's not more people that are guilty, then what's the big deal? You see what I'm saying? So it's crazy, but yeah, that's what the files have to be incredibly important to not release. So tell me your incredibly important reason. What you think? Tell me what you think that incredibly important reason might be. Is it saving Americans' lives by not releasing the files? You tell me what you think. But obviously, is keeping Americans alive? Is keeping Americans alive? Is that what this is about? So the files can't be released because we need to protect American citizens? Is that what's going on? So there's an argument to keep the files secret, away from the American people, and there's an argument to release Ghislaine Maxwell from prison. And that argument is being made by the Republicans. There's not one Democrat that is saying either one of those things should happen. Every Democrat said release the files, and every Democrat said fuck no, she's got to stay in jail until her sentence is done. Why are Republicans doing both? Why are they? And I'm not saying it because it's a matter of me being biased. I'm literally saying it's just the fact. If it was literally just Democrats doing it, you would have to say that fact. But right now, it's literally just the Republicans. Why do you think it's literally just the Republicans advocating to keep the files hidden and advocating to get Ghislaine Maxwell out of prison? I'm just trying to understand that. You see what I mean? It's somebody said it's the donors. I hear you. And fuck the donors. I mean, that shouldn't make anybody feel safer. You know what I mean? Because maybe the donors are down with it. Maybe they have something to do with it too. If you were hiding my criminality, I would give you money too. I mean, it's called blackmail, but it's legal in this sense because it's just happening every day. That's just how it gets done. You donate money, they do you a favor. You listen
Quote,
to them.
My committee split on that, he added, declining to name who on the panel supported granting a pardon. Quote, I don't speak for my committee. Comer himself wasn't in favor. Quote, I think it looks bad, he said. Honestly, other than Epstein, the worst person in this whole investigation is Maxwell. And
right. And that's not a good argument because I don't think it's been, I don't know why people would think they know who the worst is because you don't know all the information. So how do you know who the worst people are when you don't have all the information yet? There could be other people. And I'm telling you, one of the people that publicly have stated that there are other people that were in charge of this is Sasha Riley. He said that, and he's a veteran of the Afghanistan war. So I don't understand why. He's also said he was a victim, right? So he alleges that there's others involved, other billionaires directly involved, and he alleged that Epstein worked for those billionaires. So, and he alleged that Trump was the boss and Epstein was the employee, like that kind of thing. So I don't know why, maybe he's right. Maybe what's in those files shows that. You see what I mean? Maybe it shows other billionaires who were the bosses. What do you think? I mean, I'm just curious. I believe the man, but I'm just curious. You let me know.
Rejected today an appeal by.
This is Trump being asked about Ghislaine Maxwell, whether she should be given a pardon, right? So thanks to Brian Tyler Cohen.
But he wouldn't possibly do that.
Yeah, please. Mr. President's term today, Mr. President.
Say it.
The Supreme Court is back and they rejected today an appeal by Ghislaine Maxwell to overturn
Eric, what's
her
up?
conviction. That means her only chance of getting out of prison is a pardon from you. Is that something you're?
Who are we
Edward.
talking about?
Ghislaine Maxwell.
I haven't heard the name in so long. I can say this, that I'd have to take a look at it.
Yeah, Eve. What's up, Eve and why?
Would have to take a look. Did they reject that?
She wanted to appeal her conviction.
And what happened?
They said that they were not going to hear her appeal.
I see. Well, I'll take a look at it. I will speak to the DOJ. I wouldn't consider it or not consider it. I don't know anything about it. So, but I will speak to the DOJ.
Why would she be a candidate for clemency, sir?
I don't know. I mean, I'd have to speak to the DOJ. I'll look at it. I have a lot of people who have asked me for pardons. I call him Puff Daddy has asked me for a pardon.
But she was convicted of child sex trafficking.
Yeah, I mean, I'm going to have to take a look at it. I'd have to ask DOJ. I didn't know they rejected it. I didn't know she was even asking for it, frankly.
Oh, yeah, Ghislaine Maxwell, man. Blast from the past. I could hardly place that name. Sex trafficker that I was best friends with? That's the one? Thought so. Like, I'm sorry, but what is this game that Trump is playing where he pretends like his association with Jeffrey Epstein and his criminal accomplice, Ghislaine Maxwell, is somehow so difficult to place? Did he know that many pedophiles that they're becoming difficult to sort? Epstein literally called Trump his best friend for a decade. We don't all have to suspend reality here and just pretend that anything he's saying as it relates to Epstein and Maxwell are on the level, because it's clearly not. Every word out of his mouth is an effort to obfuscate the truth. And the truth is that as far as the crimes Epstein and Maxwell committed are concerned, and the subsequent effort to seek accountability for those crimes, Trump is not their opponent. He is clearly their ally. Consider, too, Trump says that he's, quote, looking into it. I'm sorry, but I feel like, but she's convicted of child sex trafficking is all the looking into it that you need to do. What else could possibly serve as a justification to pardon or offer clemency to Ghislaine Maxwell when the crime she committed is selling young girls into sex and then abusing them herself? Like, what, did she also donate to the ASPCA and so that absolves her of her crimes? I mean, honestly, What else could Trump need to know that would possibly serve as a rationale to pardon her? Of course, again, this is all just a pretend exercise since we know exactly why Trump is saying this. Not because there's some legitimate reason to take a look at the intricacies of Maxwell's case, but rather because Trump is a part of the entire cover-up. He is implicated in the Epstein files, and he knows full well that the only living person who could take him down is Ghislaine Maxwell. Therefore, he has a vested interest in currying favor with Maxwell to protect himself. Not rocket science. There's a very, very obvious reason that Trump has always been skittish about releasing the Epstein files.
Would you declassify the 9/11 files?
Yeah.
Would you declassify JFK files?
Yeah.
Would you,
I did a lot of it.
Would you declassify the Epstein files?
Yeah, I would.
All right.
I guess I would. I think that less so because, you know, you don't know. You don't want to affect people's lives if it's phony stuff in there, because there's a lot of phony stuff with that whole world.
Let's hear it again.
All right.
I guess I would.
Would you declassify JFK files?
Yeah.
Would
I
you,
did a lot of it.
Would you declassify the Epstein files?
Yeah, I would.
All right.
I guess I would. I think that less so because, you know, you don't know. You don't want to affect people's lives if it's phony stuff in there. Less so because, you know, yeah, I would.
All right.
I guess I would. I think that less so because, you know, you don't know. You don't want to affect people's lives if it's phony stuff in there.
So that's what's apparently happening right now. Less so. Yeah, but less so. That's pretty much what's happening right now. And why? Because
files.
Yeah, I would.
All right.
I guess I would. I think that less so because, you know, you don't know. You don't want to affect people's lives if it's phony stuff in there, because there's a lot of phony stuff with that whole world. So
Trump says there's a lot of phony stuff in there that they're withholding. Pretty much. That's what I get out of it. I mean, has the real stuff been released or has the phony stuff been released? That's also another question. If you were to believe Trump, if you believe Trump is an honest man and it is not implicated in this, my question would be, what part of the Epstein files that's been released have been the phony part? Is it the phony part that's been released, or is it the phony part that's being withheld to protect people because you don't want them to be hurt because there's phony stuff? So I'm just curious about that. Yeah.
But I think I would, or at least.
Do you think that would restore trust? Help restore trust?
Yeah, I don't know about Epstein so much.
Or how about his previous comments, making sure to never say an ill word of Ghislaine Maxwell herself?
Ghislaine Maxwell is in prison, and a lot of people want to know if she's going to turn in powerful people. And I know you've talked in the past about Prince Andrew, and you've criticized Bill Clinton's behavior. I'm wondering, do you feel that she's going to turn in powerful men? How do you see that working out?
I don't know. I haven't really been following it too much. I just wish her well, frankly. I've met her numerous times over the years, especially since I lived in Palm Beach, and I guess they lived in Palm Beach. But I wish her well, whatever it is. I don't know the situation with Prince Andrew. Just don't know. Not aware of it.
Mr. President, the other day a reporter asked you about Ghislaine Maxwell. You said, quote, "I just wish her well, frankly. I've met her numerous times over the years, especially since I lived in Palm Beach, but I wish her well, whatever it is." Mr. President, Ghislaine Maxwell has been arrested on allegations of child sex trafficking. Why would you wish such a person
first of all,
well?
I don't know that, but I do know that
She has. She's been arrested for that. You know
her
that.
friend or boyfriend,
Epstein,
was either killed or committed suicide in jail. She's now in jail.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, I wish her well. I'd wish you well. I'd wish a lot of people well. Good luck. Let them prove somebody was guilty. I mean, do you know that?
Oh, so you're saying you hope she doesn't die in jail? Is that what you mean by wish her well?
Her boyfriend died in jail, and people are still trying to figure out, how did it happen? Was it suicide? Was he killed? And I do wish her well. I'm not looking for anything bad for her. I'm not looking bad for anybody. And they took that and
I mean, she's
made
a child
it
sex alleged child sex
such a
trafficker.
big deal. But all it is her boyfriend died. He died in jail. Was he killed? Was it suicide? I do. I wish her well.
Of course he wishes her well. He wishes everybody well. Why wouldn't he wish her well? And frankly, when you take out judges, prosecutors, lawyers, media companies, universities, celebrities, governors, lawmakers, senators, candidates, and anyone even tangentially aligned with the left more broadly, he's basically a paragon of kindness. So look, this is not a prediction show, but my prediction here is pretty obvious. Trump will very likely pardon Ghislaine Maxwell because this is not and never was about accountability. That was a ruse that he told to con the marks in his base.
And it worked, you know, and there's still people that are out there that don't want the Epstein files released. Like, for example, let me see somebody in the chat here. Jimmy, do you want that? Do you think the Epstein files should be released, or do you think the rest of them should be withheld? Should there be fines given to the government individuals, the head of, the DOJ for not releasing it? What do you think, Jimmy? Where do you stand on that simple situation there? Should they be released or not? Just curious. Yeah, because to me it sounds like Jimmy doesn't want them to be released. So there you have it. He's worried about what happened in the past. He doesn't care about what's happening now in front of him. So most of the people that watch my program care about what's going on right now. Usually when you watch the news, you want to know. And, it's like obvious that Trump has been the president twice now, right? So he's been president more than Biden has, right? So only the vice president doesn't really have that much power, right? It is pretty much the president. The vice president can't make an executive order. Only the president can. So Biden was not Epstein's best friend. Biden's not in the Epstein files, so we can't really lean to him. Like, you brought his name up for some reason. Biden did this and Biden did that. Okay, but what does that have to do with anything? Because we talk about the Epstein files and who's part of the Epstein files. So Trump is part of the Epstein files. Trump has been implicated in the Epstein files. Put a 1 in the chat if you've heard Trump be implicated in the Epstein files. Put a 2 in the chat if you've never heard Trump be implicated in the Epstein files. Or better yet, put a 1 in the chat if you've heard Trump be implicated, period, whether it's the files or not. Put a 2 in the chat if you've never heard Trump be implicated. That's what I want to know. I've heard him be implicated in the files and outside of the files. Trump. So put a 1 in the chat if you've heard Trump has been implicated in acts with Epstein. Put a 2 in the chat if you never heard any. Yeah, so there's actually somebody in the chat that's never heard Trump be implicated. Well, that tells you a whole lot. So we don't really have time to really go there. So here we go. If that's what it is, then, you know, we ain't going to waste nobody's time. How about 30 minutes, man? Because I got 30 minutes left in the show. So no need to waste people's times in the chat, man, if you're that far behind. In any case, this is crazy, man. I would never understand that. You know, it's like, look, if you never heard Trump be implicated with Epstein, you never heard it publicly said by anybody, you've never heard it mentioned in the Epstein files, then basically you know nothing about anything at this point, and nobody can help you. So there we have it.
Absolutely nothing. Nothing from her, nothing from any of her legal representatives, nothing from the DOJ. So she has left us no choice. She didn't show up to her scheduled deposition, which we have under law for her to actually come. The Republicans also agreed to that subpoena. They released it with Chairman Comer. And we've heard absolutely nothing from the AG.
You didn't lose my audio. I was on the phone, Jimmy. You didn't hear what I was saying. But Jimmy, let me see. What was Jimmy's answer? Did Jimmy say he never heard? See, Jimmy didn't answer. So there you have it. And I already said that. That's part of the rule, Jimmy. You don't get to be in my chat and not answer questions, right? You see what I mean? You're making statements, and you know, so people get to ask you stuff. So Jimmy, I'm going to ask you again. Have you ever heard Trump be implicated with in any crime with Epstein, whether it's in the files, from someone in the files, or someone outside of the files? I'm just talking to Jimmy, y'all. Let's give Jimmy a chance to answer that question because he didn't hear the question. So just waiting on Jimmy. Jimmy, you ever heard Epstein? You ever heard Trump be implicated with Epstein publicly? Have you ever heard it? Put a 1 in the chat if you've heard people make accusations towards Trump. Accusations. Just directly. No, I'm not asking. It doesn't matter if you believe it or not. I'm asking, have you heard it or not? Have you heard him have you heard anyone say that he has been? Right. There you have it. Okay. Very simple. That's all. Very simple. Now let's see what's going on with Pam Bondi.
But what we do know is that half of the files have not been released. Survivors have been, of course, as you know, doxxed and put in danger because their names and information have been put actually.
No, Jimmy's talking about, of course, I heard it. No, it doesn't matter if you heard it. You didn't answer with everybody else. Next time, answer with everybody else. Hold on. All right. Here we go to Jimmy. See, Jimmy, are you American? You speak English, American English? See, when somebody asks you a question, you don't withhold your answer while everybody else is answering. You participate like everybody else. He's in there talking about show proof. Man, if you never listen, show proof. Okay, so what you're saying is that Ghislaine Maxwell should be let out of jail. Jimmy, do you think Ghislaine Maxwell should be freed? Should she be freed? Have you seen the proof? Why is she in jail? Why is Ghislaine Maxwell in jail? You didn't see the proof, so why is she in jail? Tell me that. Why is Ghislaine Maxwell in jail, Jimmy? Oh, now Jimmy just getting there you go. I get you, Jimmy. Oh, he's getting offended. My man, really, he's got to say, he's really out here like, you can't convict Trump just on what you heard, man. Trump is my mama.
In the files that were supposed to be.
Leave my mama Trump alone.
Redacted. And so there has been absolutely, in this case, a massive cover-up that's been directed by the AG, and she has not answered a question. So she must come under oath, and stay tuned, because imminently that contempt charge is going to be filed, and we expect that process to go through and for her to show up in front of our committee.
That was the ranking member of the House Oversight Committee, Robert Garcia, threatening.
You would think, Buddha, I heard you. You would think that would have been Jimmy's answer because she was convicted by jury. But no, see, that's the difference. That's not, you and Jimmy are two different people, regardless of whatever else you think. Jimmy couldn't even answer that question. Why? Because the truth is that Jimmy doesn't believe any of that shit. Any of those people are guilty. He thinks it's all a hoax like Trump. He thinks it's all a hoax. Jimmy thinks it's all a Democrat conspiracy. Even Ghislaine Maxwell, Democrat conspiracy, all made up. Now put a 1 in the chat if you've ever heard people say that it's all made up. Once Trump became elected, Put it this time around. Put a 1 in the chat if you heard all of a sudden people say it was all a Democrat hoax. Put a 2 in the chat if you never heard that. I'm just curious. I mean, I heard people, soon as Trump was elected and they stopped putting out the files, I heard people use that as an excuse. It's all a Democrat hoax. So I heard it. Did you hear it? Put a 1 in the chat if you heard people say it's all a Democrat hoax. Put a 2 in the chat if you never heard that before. I'm just curious. I'm just curious about that. You know, the chat is open, but it has a price. You know, people gotta have to respond. You know what I'm saying? You can't just be in the chat doing whatever you want to do. You know what I'm saying? You gotta also work with others. You know what I mean? So, Buddha, put a 1 in the chat if you heard people say that it's all a Democrat hoax. Put a 2 in the chat if you never heard that after Trump was elected. I heard it. I don't know. I'm just curious. You know, people sometimes tend to only hear stuff they want to hear. You know, hey, I mean, at the end of the day, other countries believe it's not a hoax, and other countries are firing people that are in their government connected to Epstein, firing or convicting and prosecuting. The only country that's not doing that is the United States of America. So I feel sorry for people that want to be different. Okay. Yeah. I hope those prices are doing well. You know, the prices at the grocery store and the cost of healthcare and everything else. I hope you're doing well. Yeah, this is something else. Well, let me see here. Who expected it? Nobody really cares about it. Now here we have Kash Patel's drunken ass, who's all over the place. I don't know why. You know, he's in power, but we know why, because he was selected by the American people, and American people felt like these folks are better than Biden. You know, the American people felt that they were being attacked and slaughtered by the Biden administration, you know, and they were so upset at them that they elected Trump because Trump was going to stop the Biden administration from slaughtering innocent American people. So that's what they voted for. And the people that they thought would release the Epstein files didn't release the Epstein files. And Kash Patel is one of those people. He was on TV every day talking about, put on your big boy pants, release the files, release the files. The director of the FBI has the files. And now, lo and behold, Kash Patel is the director of the FBI, and he ain't released the files. But it turns out he's also a drunk. I mean, damn. It also turns out his own people had to kick in the damn door damn near, or thought they would have to, because he was passed out drunk. I mean,
one story after another about potential corruption, or very real corruption, I should say, in the Trump administration in some detail. But guess what? Because today is a day that ends in Y. We've got so much more to talk about. And this particular story centers around...
Oh, you said BB got prostate cancer? Damn. Well, oh well, you don't live forever. I mean, personally, you know, yeah. I mean, whether he got prostate cancer or not, I believe he's an evil man. You know, it's just straight up. I believe he's evil, and, you know, I'm not saying he's the only one on earth at all either. I'm not saying that, but you know, man, I don't think it's good to have people in power that long. I think this is what you see when you keep electing same people over and over. I'm not talking about, you know, obviously being president 2 times is not that great, right? It's not that much power. BB has been in power how long? We talk 8 years 8 years. That's it. You can't be president anymore. And even Trump wants to find a way around that, right? And of course, billionaires want to try to find a way around that, right? Of course, you know, you would want to try to find a way around that. The Constitution has a lot of restrictions so that the American people have a country. You see what I mean? But a lot of other countries don't have those restrictions, man. You can keep running for office, keep running for office, keep running for office, keep running for office. And it doesn't matter how many people you have. I mean, so 8 years is enough. The United States got 350 million people that can be president, that have the right to be president. We don't need people just hogging power. That's the last thing we need. That's the lack of representation. You know, we need people that grew up poor to also become president. We need people that grew up middle class to also become president. We need more of that because most Americans are either middle class or poor. So we need more middle class and poor representation in the White House, you know, especially being a moral authority there, you know, being a place where you can actually lead with the podium and say, Congress, get something done. Right. These kind of things. We need someone with compassion for everyday people in charge. Otherwise, everyday people are going to be hit with a stick. It's just that simple. It's just that simple. If you don't have everyday people that come from everyday backgrounds in leadership position, everyday people will get hit with a stick. I mean, that's what I see anyway. So, you know.
A specific conflict of interest that just a few years ago made right-wingers nearly foam at the mouth. Because this is a story about potential corruption involving a president's sons.
They have been 100% silent when it comes to this current president's son.
I mean, this is the president's son. Can you give me a bigger conflict of interest? No.
That is what creates this conflict of interest.
Why was this potential conflict of interest ignored?
Nothing but conflict of interest when you're taking money from foreign oligarchs.
So are we shocked that the president's son is getting special treatment?
This is about him peddling influence from being the president's son.
Whose son actually did profit off of his dad's government service.
Tried to profit off his dad's political career.
Profiting off his father's diplomacy.
Profit off his father's position.
Profiting off his father's name, and everybody is covering it.
There's vulnerability.
So this is when Biden was in office. This is what the right-wing news channels like Fox, this was the big conversation. This was what people that voted for Trump talked about often. I even had people up here on my channel literally come up and talk about Biden's son. Like, I remember that. And I talked to them. I said, don't you think you're being a little misled a little bit by some of this? Like, don't you think it's being exaggerated a little bit? And they were like, no, hell no, impossible. You're totally wrong. You out of your mind, man. Yeah. So this is a clear conversation that was happening with Trump supporters, right? Now,
for bribery there.
And by the way, did I tell you?
Now they don't care about these issues.
His son has no experience, nothing really to offer.
I hope that they make him accountable. It doesn't matter if you're the president's son.
Why are they protecting the president's son?
Man, I love the video archives, don't you? Back when Joe Biden was in office, every MAGA talking head was obsessed with the idea that the son of a president might be profiting off of the presidency. They were shocked. They were incensed. They were pearl clutching till they broke those pearls. They demanded accountability for the president's son making money.
And look, I didn't have any type of, I don't care if you commit a crime, you commit a crime, but you don't have to exaggerate it. But the guy did actually get what he had some, he ended up getting pardoned, I think, or something. What was it about he had a gun that he shouldn't have had, that they shouldn't have sold him because he was a convicted felon, or he was convicted of a certain kind of crime, which means he wasn't allowed to possess a gun. He didn't use the gun, but he possessed the gun, and people wanted blood. And hey, if he's convicted, he's convicted. But so there it is. But you know, it's interesting because Trump possessed the gun he's not supposed to have. He's a felon. He's a convicted felon. He's not supposed to possess guns. Right? But he actually admitted to it, you know, and nothing. Now, what I'm curious about is this. Now we live today. It's not Biden anymore. Biden's not the president. Biden can't help you. So any talking about Biden does nothing for your life because Biden can't sign an executive order. Biden can't ask Congress to put restrictions on companies overcharging. You can't ask Biden to tell oil companies to lower their prices, or gas companies. You can't ask Biden to help you because Biden's not the president. You can't ask Kamala. She's not the president. The person you could want to do something is Trump because he's the president now. The person you could want to do something are in Congress. They're in the Senate because you're paying them right now. You don't even pay Biden anymore. You don't pay Kamala Harris anymore. You actually pay only the people in power right now. So those are the people that are in power right now that can do things the fastest. Everybody else has got to wait for elections before they ever get any other chance again. That's if they ever do. And there's no guarantee they ever will. You see what I mean? But now that Trump is in office, nobody's talking about his kids grifting. Nobody.
Off his father's position.
Not the same people. They're not even interested.
And guys, it wasn't even just right-wing pundits who were absolutely obsessed with that story. Trust me here.
We now know that Hunter Biden is going to be able to meet with prospective buyers at 2 art shows where his paintings are going to be on display later this year. So does this White House not have any concerns about the photos that have emerged showing Hunter Biden at that gallery alongside prospective buyers?
Right. So this is actually, quote unquote, media outlets that are being said, they're being called lefty, right? These are lefties asking the press secretary about Biden's son.
Okay, on another topic, was it common for President Biden to do favors for Hunter Biden's international business partners? On another topic, a lot of stories about Hunter Biden surfacing this week.
And Hunter Biden's book is out this week.
Okay, and I have a question on Hunter Biden's artwork.
Now, let's fast forward to today, shall we?
The company just secured a $24 million contract with the Pentagon for its Phantom robot to begin tests with the Marine Corps. And
so, this is where people that I don't know where your zealousy against Biden comes from. The man was only president once. Trump was president twice. I don't know where the zealot part comes from. But in case you don't know, Trump's family is into making robots to lock your fucking ass up. And Peter Thiel is busy helping to make the brains, the programming. These two different sides of it. I'm talking about these two different sides of the technocratic world. The brain, the programming behind the robot, and then the body of the robot, the engineering behind the body. And believe it or not, you shouldn't want this. You should not want this. Even if you think Joe Biden's son shouldn't have had a gun, you should also think, I don't want this to happen. Because you are the main target. If you don't have $20 million, or you probably even more, I'm telling you, people are in danger. RoboCop is coming. And they might be making these things. Listen, the American people is financing it because allegedly they're going to use these against other people outside. What if they just decide to use these against you? Then what you going to do? Anything to stop it? Any plan?
help troops breach enemy sites more safely. Joining us now is Foundation Future Industries founder and CEO Sankat Patak and the company's chief strategy advisor, Eric Trump, President Trump's son.
That's right.
Who is that?
In the middle of a war that the president started.
Who is this?
Company's chief strategy advisor, Eric Trump, President Trump's son.
Who?
And the company's chief strategy advisor, Eric Trump, President Trump.
Eric Trump, President Trump's son.
Trump's son.
Crazy.
Chief strategy advisor, Eric Trump. Eric Trump. Eric Trump.
Eric
Trump.
Eric who?
Eric Trump.
Eric who?
Eric Trump.
Eric who?
Eric Trump.
Eric who?
Eric Trump.
Who's out there giving him your tax dollars? You are putting money in this man's pocket directly. Who are you putting? Whose money is your money? Where's it going? Whose pocket is it going into?
Eric Trump.
And what's he doing? Making robots, RoboCops to lock your ass up. And Palantir's making the brains. You see what I'm saying? Yeah, level guys at Peter Thiel bragged about it. Exactly, man. Exactly. You know what I'm saying? No, I mean, of course, we're paying them. But these people don't believe in democracy. So where do you think the chickens are going to come home to roost?
Eric Trump.
They're already using this technology. The same technology they used in like you said, in Gaza, they're using in the U.S., man. I mean, they're using the facial recognition shit, the sharing information, the going around collecting data out of the air, getting everybody's information, your Facebook, your, social media, your private records, social security records, all this shit, man.
Eric Trump.
And it's all that technology is going to be put into the body of a robot.
Eric Trump.
And Eric Trump is one of them. That's the president's son. Any problem with that? Is there any type of ethical issues here? Any type of issues of, conflicts of interest here? Anybody worried about that? No, but they're worried about Biden. They were worried about Biden's son, Hunter Biden. They're worried about Hunter. What about Hunter Biden, man? You was smoking meth. What about Hunter Biden, man? Well, Trump's son is going to throw your black ass in jail, like straight up, just so you understand it. Like, yes, you first. You first, because you are the weakest. You are the most exposed. Like, and then everybody else.
Eric Trump.
Yeah, and also the ding 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 Americans.
Eric Trump
is coming to get you and your guns.
Eric Trump.
Because they know that you have more guns. The United States Americans have more guns than the citizens of China and Russia put together.
Eric Trump
knows that. And they're making robots to come and take your guns because they know they can't get American citizens to do it. They know they can't trust American people to take your guns. So they're going to send the robots. And guess who's getting paid in the middle? Guess who is just going to have a good old time?
Eric Trump, President Trump's son.
Yep.
That's right. In the middle of a war that the president started, his adult son is the chief strategy advisor of a company that just so happens to be winning multi-million-dollar Pentagon contracts. And it is not just that.
And for those that don't know, Pentagon contracts, that means it's taxpayer dollars. That means it's your dollars. You're funding it. While you can't afford shit at the store, you can afford to pay for him to send a robot after your ass.
One humanoid robot company that has managed to score a Pentagon contract either. Just that one humanoid robot company that has managed to score a Pentagon contract either. Not just that one humanoid robot company that has managed. Just that one humanoid robot $1 million Pentagon contracts. And it is not just that one humanoid robot company that has managed to score a Pentagon.
It's not just one humanoid robot company that's managed to score Pentagon contracts under this president.
And it is not just that one humanoid robot company that has managed to score a Pentagon contract either. Last year, the venture capital firm of Trump's other adult son, Don Jr., invested in a new 3D printed rocket propellant startup. And 8 months later, that company, partially owned by the president's son, landed a nearly $5 million contract with the U.S. Air Force. Imagine that. Now, a spokesperson for Don Jr.
And for those that don't know, who pays for the U.S., who pays to keep the U.S. Air Force afloat? The American taxpayer. Rich, poor, middle class, all of you.
The company, of course, denied that their proximity to power represented a conflict, saying, with the U.S. Air Force. Imagine that. Now, a spokesperson for Don Jr.'s company, of course, denied that their proximity to power represented a conflict, saying the company maximizes transparency and compliance, even though no one at the fund has ever worked in government. And I just have to pause there because that is quite the interesting, and I would note, quite specific denial. Because while no one at the fund may have technically ever worked in government, Don Jr. helped screen candidates for top jobs at the Pentagon on behalf of his father, the commander-in-chief, after the election. And we know that because Don Jr. even bragged on his podcast about his role in that process during the transition. He specifically mentioned that for whatever reason, he seemed to be screening candidates based on their interest in drones.
During transition, you're going through, you're interviewing some of these guys. Who's going to be, Secretary of the Air Force or whatever. This one was particularly germane because it was like,
I mean, this dude, I'm sorry, but to me, he looks like a cokehead. He looks like a drug addict, like straight up.
Old F-15 pilot, and that's incredible. But, they sort of want to go with what they know, which is we're fighter pilots. But, are they better served with a drone that costs, a tiny fraction of that of a plane?
So this is what people got. We got the people with the money that are cool with drugs, cool with being drunk. And you can be drunk, you can be high, but because you're so important, a lot. This is what, this is what is in fashion now. This is what the vogue is and shit. Just to be high, drunk, talk your ass off, everything. As long as you have money, you pay everyone else. So who's going to be behind his robot? Who are the brains? Who's going to get access to that information that robot is collecting when it's out there on the street looking at American people? It's this guy. It's literally them. RoboCop. Literally them. And people supported it. And what is RoboCop's number one job? Is to take the guns away from the American people, because no American person is really able to do that. You know what I mean? They need robots to do that. You see what I mean? Only a robot would take that order, but only a robot would even have a chance at performing it well. Remember the last time people tried to do that?
So can you guess? You probably can. What business Don Jr. and Eric Trump just so happen to be heavily invested in? And if you guess drones, ding, 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 you're correct. Both Don Jr. and Eric Trump are heavily invested in drone companies. Last year, a drone company called Unusual Machines gave Don Jr. 200,000 shares of its stock in exchange for his help as an advisor. And while company officials and Pentagon officials and Don Jr. himself have all said that Don Jr. has not reached out to the Defense Department about that company, the company has seen some notable success since they brought Don Jr. on. See, after that help from Don Jr. screening candidates for top jobs at the Pentagon, Trump ended up picking Dan Driscoll as his Army secretary. And Dan Driscoll just so happens to have promised to revamp contracting efforts to speed up Pentagon purchases of, you guessed it, drones. And last year, while giving a speech to Army leaders and industry executives, Driscoll actually showed off a drone that the Army built using parts from the company Don Jr. is an investor in. He told the company, quote, "Across the Army, we will equip soldiers with these kinds of expendable drones." Now, that same day, the Army's 101st Airborne Division announced it intended to buy 300,500 drone engines from that company.
So this is basically Americans are lining the pockets of the Trump family right now. Not that he knew much about this stuff before his dad became president again, but this is what they're doing. At the same time, they criticize Hunter Biden. So what does that tell you? That tells me that they weren't serious about Hunter Biden, because why would you go out and do the same thing or 1,000 times worse if you were serious about Hunter Biden being a problem? It also shows you how hypocritical Trump supporters are, because while they went out there and said Hunter Biden's a problem, that's corruption, you shouldn't do that, they're in total support of Trump's own family doing it. Like 10 times more, 20 times more, 1,000 times more. They're in total favor of the Trump corruption, just because in their eyes, they think only through the lens of Democrat or Republican. That's the problem. So as long as it's a Republican doing it, thumbs up. Go do it. You have the right to do it, and I will give you my allegiance as long as you do it, because I don't care about the issue of rich or poor. What I care is who's a Democrat or a Republican. You see, like they can't get their brains out of that thinking, and Trump uses that, Fox News uses that, this is what we're dealing with right now in the U.S. We're dealing with lack of access to education. That's what we're dealing with, people not able to critically think, sadly enough, not in an organized way, not in a mapped out way, I'm laughing, but it ain't funny. It ain't funny.
Journalists gather for the annual White House Correspondents' Dinner to ostensibly celebrate the First Amendment. This year will be different. They will be sitting side by side with members of the Trump administration and the architects of efforts to erode the First Amendment and First Amendment freedoms. And it's not just Donald Trump who's doing it. Donald Trump, by the way, is attending this dinner for the first time ever, breaking with his own norm-busting behavior. Every president since Calvin Coolidge has attended at least one of the dinners. In his first term, Trump did not. But we've also seen perplexing decisions from some news organizations to invite the very same people who have lodged lawsuits against them, who threaten them, who attack them in ways that lead to threats of violence, who've threatened to strip their broadcast licenses, including CBS News, which our friend Oliver Darcy reports in Status.
Oh, I see Nate Park wants attention. Nate Park, do you believe Ghislaine Maxwell should be released from prison? Put a 1 in the chat, Nate Park, if you believe she should be released from prison. Put a 2 in the chat if you believe she should not be released from prison.
This has invited Stephen Miller as a guest at its table, and Pete Hegseth, who is literally at.
Oh, okay. He put a 2 in the chat because he look, everybody. Nate Park believes she should be released from prison. Is that what you believe? You believe she should be? No, all right, I'm joking. Okay.
With the Pentagon Press Corps. Donald Trump's Secretary of Defense evicted reporters from their workspaces at the Pentagon for not agreeing to his
lucky answer
demands, which a federal judge ruled as unconstitutional and the mark of autocracy. Oliver Darcy reports that Donald Trump's Federal Communications Commission Chair, Brendan Carr, is also set to attend the dinner. Oliver reports that Carr is, quote, not with CBS, but according to Darcy's reporting, an invitation has been extended to him from CBS.
Hey, look at this stupid question. I'm about to be out of here because I got to travel in a second. I'm about to be out. But listen, y'all, I just want to illustrate you something. What I was just saying about the Americans, they can't get out of this mode. Look at this statement. Mike, whatever this is, computer Mike VQ8ZW says, Edward, thanks to Democrat presidents, we are in the situation with Iran. Isn't that exactly what I told you? It has to be like it's just because it's a Democrat who has to take the fall. Although a president, you saw who did it. It got nothing to do with Netanyahu, got nothing to do with Trump. Okay. Iran should have been dealt with decades ago instead of just appeasing them and pushing it off to the next president. Yeah, but what about the president before that? What about the Republican before that? What did the Republican do before that? And what about the one? So what you're doing is this is a chicken and egg thing. What came first, the chicken or the egg? And you want to, you got the chicken. You want to get in that conversation. Blame it on the egg. You should blame it on the egg, man. And the egg is like, no, blame it on the chicken. Yo, what are you talking about? It's not about whether this is Republican or Democrat. You cannot stop. You can't stop Iran. Why? Because the last Republican never dealt with them. You see what I'm saying? That's the point, Mike. You can point to just every other Republican and say the same thing. Why is it this way if there could be anything done about it? You see what I'm saying? How about you don't come from the Middle East? Americans don't come from the Middle East, man. Do you know that? We're not neighbors with Iran. Iran doesn't have to work with us for us to work well. Don't you understand that? Like, what are you talking about? This is crazy, man. And instead, he's not trying to think about health care, in the United States of America, something you could do about, something else you could do something about. You could do something about education, access to education, more Americans having access to education. You could do something about that. Why? Because that's happening in your own country, not halfway around the globe. Okay. You could do something about fair wage jobs in your own country because that's not a problem you need to deal with halfway around the globe. You could do something about fair housing in your own country if you wanted to. You could, you don't want to. That's why you haven't solved the problem. So what is it about Democrats and Republicans and independents? But better yet, these are people voted in by American citizens. So what is it about American citizens that they don't want those problems at home solved? What is it about them? What is it American citizens do wrong? I'm just curious about that. Mike VQ8ZW. What is it American citizens? When is it ever going to be the American citizens' fault? What is it they do wrong? What do American citizens do wrong to not get health care for everyone, every American citizen? Don't American citizens want all American citizens having health care? Why don't they want that? Why can't they get that? Why don't all American citizens want all American citizens to have health care? Why don't all American citizens want all American citizens to have access to any education they pass a test for without it having something to do with their money, how much money they have? Why is that? I'm just curious about that. So you can blame political parties, but the truth of the matter is that it's the American citizen that has to actually want these things. The American citizens do not want these things. That's the issue. Not yet. They don't want it. They actually want something else, and that's what they're getting. They're getting something else every other day of the week. The day American citizens want American citizens to have health care, regardless of how much money they have, they will have it. It's just that simple. The day they want all American citizens to have access to education, regardless of how much money they have, if they just pass the entry exam, they will have it, but they just don't want it yet. Not the multitude of American citizens. Half is not enough. You need 2/3 or greater to want it. And 2/3 or greater do not want American citizens having those things. 2/3 or greater do not want American citizens having fair housing. 2/3 or greater do not want American citizens having a wage that pay a salary at work that pays for them to go home and have a dignified life with their families. 2/3 of American citizens don't want it. So they don't vote for it, and they don't demand it in their vote. That's what's going on. And it's not about both sides have different ways of solving problems. No, both sides have failed. That's what it's about. It's not about both sides. It's about American citizens vote, and they don't vote for those things. See, when Republicans run, they don't run on American citizens, all American citizens, regardless of how much money they have, getting access to health care guaranteed. They don't run on that, and you don't vote for it. Okay? So that's what that's about. Now, when everyone agrees on that, you will have it. You don't agree on it, and you don't want it. Other countries, people agree on it across political parties. Why do they agree on it? Because the people agree on it, so they have it. Every other Western nation has it. Universal health care, universal education. Why? Because the people demand it. American citizens don't demand it. Not enough. Half is not enough. You need 2/3 or greater to demand it, and you don't have that. And every time you have an election, you say, why should my tax dollars pay for another American citizen to go to school? That's what you say. Every time you run, there's an election. Why should my tax dollars pay for another American citizen to have health care? Go get a job yourself. That's exactly what they say every goddamn time. And that's what the ding-a-ding-a-ding-a-ding-ding-ding-ding Americans say. And that's what the lay low Americans sing. They all say, you got groups, people in all of that, all these demographics that say, you got the Cash Patels that say that shit too. You got Hispanics that say that shit. You got way too many Americans that say that shit. You know what I'm saying? And that is just fucking sad. And this is exactly what you get, because this is exactly what you vote for every fucking single time. And if you're stupid enough to vote for anybody that doesn't say everyone should have that, it's your goddamn fault. And you have to live it out. That's your reality. That's your life. If you're stupid enough to go outside and live in the richest country on earth and still not understand you should have that you should have had that first. And yet you're the last. And I don't know. Remember when they say that the first shall be last? That's Americans. The first shall be last. Because you are the last ones. You're the last ones in the Western world. You get treated the worst by your own government and don't even realize it. You know? Yeah. Anyway, I'm headed to Spain, y'all. American citizen living in Denmark. I have a beautiful life. Thank God. Bless Denmark too. I'm rooting for my American citizens. Everybody outside of the U.S. is rooting for people to change this government and get normal standards, normal Western standards in your own country. At least be for universal health care and education. At least At least. But if you don't want it for yourself, everyone is rooting for you to get Trump the fuck out of office and Elon Musk the fuck out of there. But if you don't want it for yourself and you want RoboCop running in your house and kicking your door in, hey, man, thank God I'm an American citizen that lives outside of the U.S. because I'd rather have regular police coming to my house. I don't need no motherfucking robot now. You see what I'm saying? So on that note, I'll be out. I'll hit you guys. The next time you see me, I'm going to be in Spain, yo, but I will be going live. So stay tuned. Stay tuned. All right. Peace and blessings. Share the video. Fuck Donald J. Trump. Fuck his whole entire administration. Fuck Elon Musk. Fuck Peter Thiel. I'm free. See y'all. All right.
Check it. We got what you need.
You want it.
We know what you want. We got it. We know what you feel. You want it. We got what you want. You can have it. We got what you need. You want it. We know what you want. We got it. We know what you feel. You want it. We got what you want. You can have it.
Orientation in this place we call Earth. Love from conception, from your mom, your birth. Pops planted the seed in the turf. From there, you must find out what life is worth. Grew up learning your do's and don'ts. Before working on your motor skills, working on your coordination, right? And orientation to what you like. The brand new thing, so gentle the soul we're capturing. In this distance, the alphabets the kids sing. They celebrate when it's time to go outside. As you get older, you learn to let all the troubles in your life just glide away. Stay focused, keep it smooth, keep you cool. Things in life can make it get rude. If you let it, don't let it. 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 If you let it, let it. Let it, what? If you let it, don't let it. Let it. If you let it, what? Don't let it. If you let it, don't let it. Let it. Don't let it.
We got what you need. You want it. We know what you want. We got it. We know what you feel. You want it. We got what you want. You can have it. We got what you need. You want it. We know what you want. We got it. We know what you feel. You want it. We got what you want. You can have it. We embark on this journey to your soul. We wanna have a good time. We embark on this journey to your soul. We wanna have a good time. We do something that you know you can't deny. We're just slipping in and out on a journey, you and I, on a mission to salvation. Our spirit be our transportation. We think you're due a little love, and that is true. For real, we bring something that you know you can't deny. We're just slipping in and out on a journey, you and I. Bring it. We got what you need. You want it. We know what you want. We got it. We know what you feel. You want it. We got what you want. You can have it. We got what you need. You want it. We know what you want. We got it. We know what you feel. You want it. We got what you want.
From our harshest past and better than our society's identity. But then again, can you tell me that's free? They explain to you what your mind should perceive, suggest things they want you to believe, like your skin color dictates your race. They're calling you an idiot to your face, like life is It's much more simple than that. We're all slaves and the cards are stacked. While we fight over problems we can fix, industrialists turn our kids to addicts. The television does a job, introduce you. The radio's right there to seduce you, keep you locked on the wrong damn track. Cigarettes is just legalized crack. They want you to catch a damn heart attack. They want you to catch a damn heart attack. What? Stop believing in the flag, it's a trap. Cause men rule this world, that's a fact. They don't know, they don't know. But I'm gonna make it right tonight. They don't lie, they don't lie. But I'm gonna say it like I know. They don't know, they don't know. That I'm gonna hit them with this shit. They don't lie, they don't lie. That you're gonna free your mind tonight, 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 tonight. That you're gonna free your mind tonight, 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 tonight. That you're gonna free your mind tonight, 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 tonight. That you're gonna free your mind tonight, 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 tonight. If you see a man that needs help, then help a brother. If you see a sister on her own, still love her. Cause life is about how you choose to see it. But you gotta teach people how to learn to see it. The planet's been through suffering many times. We propagate many wars many times. The people need to wake up and stop accepting deceit from their own government's deception. You can't blame the people for needing protection from the government's bad reputation. We need to sing a song called Free the Nation. Cause we done had a whole lot of separation. Racism, classism, nationalism, based on keeping people out on the plantation. That's the plan, no doubt. Cause rich people got a plan, no doubt. If you still don't understand and believe that we are all one from the same mother and respect each woman and man with the same consideration you would like to be given on a daily, then you need to retire so the new generation can take over and show you how to live and govern this place we call Earth home.